What is up, everybody? How we doing? How's everybody doing? We all having a good time? We all having a good Monday? Yeah, very good. What do we got going on? Wait for some of y'all to jump on in before we get started. Get into some shit tonight. Some fun shit. I was going to play Schedule 1, but I don't know if Casper's here, so play some Dyson Sphere. Neighbor Rooney, what's up? Bro, what's going on? What's going on, Bumbuckler? Everything alright? Everything wonderful? Oh, man. Wagwan. Yo, this budget looks like trash, bro. This budget looks fucking so dumb. So dumb. Oh, God. Apparently, California is looking at it. Hang on. Yeah, this budget looks awful. I've been waiting for it to pass to dive into it, TBH. Yeah, I mean, California looks like they're saying that it could lead to like 7 million people off of Medicaid. Which really sucks, dude. I mean, they've basically gutted Obamacare at this point. And like they don't have to fuck benefits over. All they ever have to do is just raise some taxes a little bit on these people who aren't spending enough taxes. We'd be able to fund a lot of these things. Maybe raise the cap on social security payments. We fund it for another 50 years. All these really simple fucking solutions. Progress state bills this year. What are you talking about? What's that? What we talking about? What's this? Who's this? Who's this? Who's this progress state bills? Cryptic, welcome. How you doing? Haven't seen you for a couple streams. How you been? How's tings? How's le tings? Sleepy, what's good? What is good? Sleepus Joas. Bro, I might be dead Joe soon. Yeah, what's up? Oh, we got lots of people showing up tonight. How's everybody doing? Everybody having a good time? We all have fun on. Yeah, I know. It's sad. We all have fun on Tiny Stream today. I definitely, he couldn't stand watching Hassan and Bad Empanada. You need to stream in the background, so I wasn't chatting. Well, I'm glad to know that you've been leaving it up and watching. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you're here chatting right now, but that's really dope of you to leave it up in the background, man. I really appreciate that. He's going to outlive Trump, hopefully. I mean, I don't know, man. That's tough. That's a tough one. I mean, at least prostate cancer is like a pretty easily treatable one, especially like a hormone aggressive one, apparently. Um, but yeah, it's it's sad, dude. It's sad. I don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. Makes me sad. Um, hmm. Yeah. So yeah, the Hassan Bad Empanada discussion. I know Tiny couldn't watch it, but I have such a fucking hate boner for both of those guys, especially Bad Empanada, that I feel like we have to watch at least some of it tonight. I can't like not watch it at all. I have to rage about those two unhinged lunatics. Jake Tapper and Alex Sansa are disgusting vultures rolling ahead with their little book tour. Yeah, look, we get it. He was fucking losing his mind or whatever. That's fine. Dude's got cancer now. Stop. Like, let it go. Make a donation to my local Catholic church. Pray for Joe. They're massive Trump conspiracy cucks. Do it. It's like when we all donated to Planned Parenthood in Mike Pence's name. Y'all remember that? Bad Empanada is one of the biggest pieces of trash in the lefty online space, streaming space. Fact, Hassan signal boosted him into popularity is disgusting. Yeah, and I guess they're making up now, which is even worse, dude. Like, I really, really hope that Bernie and AOC realize what, like, a piece of shit Hassan is, and they stop, like, talking to him. I really hope so. Because, you know, left-wing fucking politicians are paying way too much attention to him. And then there was that fucking cucky, simpy-ass fucking article from the New York Times about Hassan. What the hell was that, man? That was gross. I don't ever want to hear a lefty whine about punching left again. Anybody who supports Bad Empanada has, like, nothing to complain about. Like, and especially after this whole Dean and Parker shit, dude. I can't get enough of that one either. It's fucking slop, but I just can't stop watching it. I just can't stop. It's like guilty pleasure at this point. But man, that one we were watching today, bro. Oh god. That bad. It's just continuing. I hope this is showing like a bunch of people that like, okay, we need to drop this fucking shit. We need to let this shit go. No more of this fucking, you know, super ultra woke bullshit. Hassan was celebrating the cancer diagnosis yesterday while MTG actually said something heartfelt. Wow. What is this fucking world we're living in? Let me see what MTG said. MTG Biden cancer. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, that was nice of her. Look at that. Even her. Even her. Maybe drop the ball big time, giving Hassan infinite puff pieces. Like, holy shit, just look at Hassan tweet celebrating. Yeah, this is why they want. This is who they want. There's no way, dude. There's no way that's gonna happen. He's never gonna get that kind of a platform here. Like, it's just not. It's not sustainable. He's way too problematic, right? Right? I mean, like, Tiny even knows it can't be him, right? Like, Tiny knows it can't be me. There's too much controversy with me, right? And so it's probably not gonna be him. But like Hassan, dude, Hassan celebrates terrorism. Hassan is like, Hassan promotes anti-Semitic points of view. He's such a piece of shit. He's fucking advocated for re-education camps. Dude is scum. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, when are we gonna grow the fuck up? When are we gonna grow the fuck up? Ah. Let's see. What do we want to start off with? We educate the leftists. So, like, I wish, bro. Like, I wish that was like a be careful what you wish for sort of situation. MTG, Trump, and the rest of the conservatives figure... Oh. Yeah, it's fucking... I didn't mean to open this. Go away. I didn't mean to open this. Okay. MTG, Trump, and the rest of the conservative figures saying nice things about Biden's cancer, just virtue signaling TBH. Secretly, I'm sure MTG is glad Biden has cancer. They're just making nice public statements for likes. MTG gloated at the Pope dying. She is pure scum. No! Trust me. MTG is pure scum. But at least they had the, you know, the fucking good sense to, like, not be like, haha, he's got cancer, fucking die. I see a lot of people... I see a lot of, like, conservatives online celebrating it, and I was like, oh, these people are disgusting. But then, like, I think about it, and people on the left would probably be celebrating if Trump got cancer, too. So, like, I don't know if I can be that outraged. Sentence him to 1 hard year of studying economics. Can we just sentence everybody in America to that, maybe? Like, that would be nice. Because I feel like everybody needs a good lesson in economics and civics, for that matter. For fuck, make them learn what tariffs do. Fuck. Fuck. All right. What do we feel like getting into to start with, guys? Any suggestions? Oh, has it really? Like how? Like, are they just hating on Biden, or imagine MTG and Biden like Michelle and Bush? Oh God. Oh jeez. What's happening? What the hell is happening, man? Good Lord. Country's a mess. It's a mess.
I did.
Maybe we watch a little loner box to start with. And then, like, if you guys have suggestions, we'll get into, like, the meat of stuff I wanted to watch. But this is just, like, good little early viewing. Sombrain War Criminal. What about those in Gaza with cancer? Blah, blah, blah. That site went down the shitter a long time ago. Oh, God. Oh, jeez, man. Yeah, see, it's like there's just no realistic way for people to like respond to this. I'm just not seeing any. It's all unhinged. Nobody is hinged anymore. What happened to all of the hinged people? Where'd they go? Where's the hingedness? We're missing hingedness. Gosh. All right, we'll start with this for a little bit. Yeah, because we love us some loner box. And then, you know, we'll look at, like, Hassan and Bad Empanada a little later. Maybe take a look at some of the budget stuff. And I kind of want to do a bit of a new way of doing things. Like, you know, if you guys have, like, clips or news things and stuff, I want to start encouraging y'all to, like, drop those in chat for us to watch so I can, like, react to shit that I haven't seen yet live. That could be kind of fun, you know, stuff like that. So keep that in mind if there's, like, clips. And not just, like, politics stuff. It can be, you know, fucking slop as well, right? Just because. Yeah. But, yeah, let's have a look at this. This one is entitled... This is from like a month ago. Debate with smug TikToker derails instantly. This sounds great. A little more Israel Gaza slop here. Let's go.
I didn't even do.
Oh, what we got here? Hey, Rickroll. Nice little Rickroll just to get us started. Thank you, neighbor Rudy. We always appreciate Rick Astley. Slop tent, exactly. Hey, look, gotta appeal. We can't always be highbrow, right? Sometimes we gotta appeal to the masses. Sometimes.
Not in your stream. You didn't. You lying. You said that it was Hamas the whole time. You lied, or you didn't even do your due diligence.
Why would it make sense to kill these people? Why would it make sense to kill them? Hamas isn't stupid. You're right. Hamas isn't stupid.
It wasn't Hamas. It was Mujahideen brigades that had them. Let's debate someone. Hello.
We got a nice little.
Hello?
echo going.
Whoa, you are insanely loud. Hang on. I think that should be fine. I can just drag you down on my end. Do you want to keep talking?
Hold on, I was just muting myself to see whether my chat can hear you.
I'm gonna speed
Oh,
it up a little
can
bit.
they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7,
Yeah,
8,
they said
10.
unfortunately they can hear you.
Okay.
So you didn't seem too happy with my videos, Mr. Lonerbox.
No.
Why not?
Strawmans, just like
What
bad
was the
arguments. You said that I was excusing and like
Love
that
it,
I was
it's
brought onto Ethan Klein's show to support Israeli war crimes, even though on that appearance I literally.
By the way, did you all see Kyla's debate with that dude on whatever podcast? That shit was wild.
described Israel's performance in that war as like habitually committing war crimes. So
Oh, really? Because I've seen a lot of videos of you saying otherwise, you know. There was one where you were doing some forensic analysis, giving an explanation why kids weren't actually being shot in the head, how that wasn't a command coming, you know, up top from the IDF.
It was.
How, you know, I think when you responded to my original video, you said when the general's plan was being implemented, you tried to claim that...
I watched Tiny watching it. That shit was fucking nuts, dude. Like, that guy was absolutely... Like, you can tell he's like an Andrew Wilson dude. Because he's completely like... Like, it's 25. Why are we still trying to call out logical fallacies all the fucking time in a debate? Like, thought we were past that. The guy kind of was debating against such a clown, just an embarrassment of a man. Yeah, dude, debates like Andrew Wilson. She had 2 debates back to back. Second wasn't as bad as the first. Is the first the one we're talking about, Sleepy? Because I only saw the one with that dude who was wearing the fucking sunglasses inside the whole time. No way! What a fucking pussy, dude. What a pussy. The sunglasses douchebag, yeah. Fuck.
You know, Netanyahu and the top brass, they just didn't know what was happening, right?
I don't know whether they knew or not that it was happening. My claim was that it hadn't been signed off on by Central Command, which is what I read.
So why do you think
Awards, yes, he
so why do you think they've now...
does. Hey, oh, you got to stick around. Hassan has genital warts because we're gonna watch the Hassan and Bad Empanada chat a little bit later, and that'll definitely be. I'm gonna probably lose my fucking mind multiple times during that, because I hate both of those fucking terrible fucking tostada, fucking retarded burrito.
We're going to expel everyone from Gaza. Do you think that was just a plan they came up
And
with?
another thing that really pisses me off is I'm half Argentinian. That dude's like an Australian Greek dude. And he fucking came to my country, okay, to get away from his fucking, whatever bullshit in Australia. Now he's living in my country in Argentina. I don't like that shit. That pisses me off. Calls himself Bad Empanada. Fucking love empanadas. It's upsetting. Oh no. Oh no, do I sound bad? Let me check. You guys are going to hear an echo for a second. Oh no. Oh no, do I sound bad?
No.
Let me check.
So,
you guys
what
are
did I...
gonna
Hang
hear
on,
an
wait.
echo for a second.
One thing at a time.
Oh no.
What did I just say?
What do you mean?
What did I just say?
That you thought that it didn't come
Do I
from the
sound
top
bad?
brass, right?
Let me check.
So,
You guys
what
Yeah,
are
does
gonna
that mean
hear
that they
for a
disapprove of it or don't know about it?
Well, no, I think it's part of
It's
the
gonna
wider
be
systemic
echoey
plan,
for a
which is
second.
what you try and obfuscate.
Okay.
And try and act as if it's like...
Is all the audio good, or is it choppy? Like when I play the video, is it good? Okay. Bad empanada is on the menu. Prepare for food poisoning from the slop. True. Where's Daniel? I feel like Daniel should be jumping in here to say some bullshit about raisins right now. Okay, good, Neighboruni. Let me know if it gets bad, or try giving it a refresh. You know how it goes. Fucking kick, bro. Fucking... There it is. There it is. I was wondering. I was expecting you to say some shit about raisins, motherfucker. Why didn't you say anything about raisins? That's what I expect from you. Bad Empanada fleeing to Argentina. He's not beating the Nazi accusations. That's the crazy thing about Argentina. We all fucking went from Germany to Argentina. That's what we did. We were like, it's not enough for us to, be in the same place in Germany. No, we gotta all go to Argentina as well. That's where my family went.
These things, these IDF soldiers, they're just implementing bad things on the ground. There's baddies like Yehuda.
So, first of all, why do you... Okay. So, this is also from the same H3 podcast where I said that Netanyahu was a war criminal.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I call him a war criminal, but then also say that he, like, the top brass just doesn't want to implement the general's plan? I can show you what I read in the article.
Because you've done it over and over again. You do it all the time. There are loads of bad empanada
No,
videos.
wait.
like
Okay, yeah,
you
we can
do.
talk about bad empanada videos if you want. Okay, one thing at a
No,
time.
no.
Oh my god, he even brought that motherfucker up as if he's some sort of legitimate fucking source for goddamn anything. Anything. Fucking Temu Fidel. I called him Cheap Guevara earlier. They book with the same travel agency.
No. We're not having a long discussion about that. His videos have long clips where you edited your own stream, didn't you? You took out part of your
Daniel, I've actually been to the corner where they arrested Eichmann in Argentina.
stream because you weren't willing to avow what you'd actually said.
What did
And
I
you
actually
also,
say that I clipped out?
It was the part about talking about what they were shot in the head with. I don't remember exactly.
No, well, wait,
People
you brought it
watch
up.
the
You
video
brought it
really
up. You can,
well. Okay, what?
I can show you the whole. I can give you the whole stream unedited.
Do you want to just sit here and just watch a whole bad empanada video?
Well, no, I just
think
want you to.
I think
You
we
don't
should
even know
talk
Who
what
would
you're
want
playing
to
with.
do that?
Why are you
I
being
think
Oh,
we should
so
talk
right.
about
We're
it.
doing that later.
No, boss, I'm not being hostile. I just think
Yes,
it's
you
really
are.
inappropriate, your general behaviour.
So what did I say about what did I clip out of that stream?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I didn't keep like a long dossier of all of the things that you've said and
Oh
done.
my
But
You wanted to
goodness.
confront. This is your idea. This debate's your idea. You're not
I
prepared.
want to confront you more about your general opinion.
Some sort
you're
of
not prepared,
signage
though, are you?
there? No, not really. It's just like a corner. I don't even remember what it was, but I remember going there and like my mom being like, "Yo, that's where they took him the fuck down." It was near, I think, where she lived when she was a kid.
I messaged you within 3 hours. You knew I wasn't going to be prepared. Come on, stop with the whole debate launch stick.
Is this
Let's have a
Cutler?
conversation about, what you actually believe about Palestine. And first of all, actually, the videos. You called me a terrorist. of course,
As a
in
source doing that should
couple minutes ago,
automatically
didn't you?
lose the
Because you said I didn't
scholar.
believe Chen Kugel.
Honestly, bro, like that, I feel like that's a capital offense. Bringing up bad empanada as a source, like that should get you the chair in Minecraft. Guy Loner is talking to really confuses me. Loner talks to the guy quite often. The dude interprets Loner as bad faith as possible. Loner gives him a ton of leeway, though, probably because he's like a 19-year-old retard. Loner, listen, one of the things I love about Loner is sort of like something that I do a lot as well. Maybe it's a weakness, I don't know. But we're, with people we disagree with, we're both very, like, we give a lot of leeway. We take a lot of time. We listen, and even if we disagree, right, we're patient and we have those conversations. Tiny is not as much like that. Tiny's a lot more aggressive, right? Yeah, I don't know. There's an actual empanada, CJOs and death. What's up, Anthrax? Welcome. How's it going? Welcome. Actual capital offense. This guy is going to have to flee Argentina himself once the loner box is done debating. Oh, God, I hope so. Anyone else for your take on the Falklands? So, no. Nobody has asked my take, neighbor Ernie. The unhinged Argentinian side of me would be like, fuck you, they're the Las Malvinas. The realistic side of me says, I mean, that's, that was like 50 years ago. And, like, it's all British people there, like, realistically, they're probably not getting them back, but, nobody tell any of my Argentinian friends or family that I said that. They'll take away my fucking card. Like that a lot. Loner will talk to pretty much anyone except for Bad Empanada. Yeah, because like who would want to fucking like I wouldn't want to talk to Bad Empanada either because I understand that like after that conversation he's gonna be spending the entire time like lying about me on the internet. Absolutely, neighborini. Absolutely. Hey, listen, I'm always gonna be honest about my takes. Always gonna be honest. Guptifada, Falklands, Boogaloot.
Yeah, your standard on that was kind of ridiculous. Also, just to stop you from backing away from it, the bit that I clipped out of that stream was a bit that was flagged because it was videos of people like doing shooting videos with fake blood, and I took that out because it might get like a TOS flag.
Okay,
but obviously,
I'm sure that was.
But Bad Empanada said that I argued that those images in the New York Times article of kids with bullets in their heads was fake. I never said they were fake.
Well,
I said the opposite.
I
said the opposite, actually. Didn't I actually push back on someone who said they were
shoot them
fake?
in the
Yeah,
head.
you said
They
they
were
were
different
fake.
kinds. They're not all snipers doing it.
Well,
But
that's
That's the thing is like the thing about that fucking sniper shit or whatever is like there's so much context surrounding it. The idea that people say is that they were like specifically targeting children. Ooh, we're gonna start popping off kids, right? But that's not really what happened. First of all, you have them like covering areas where people are not supposed to be there anyway. We know that Hamas uses child soldiers. We know that They make people stay in areas they're supposed to be evacuated. And when they're like looking at it, oh my God, the sun's right in my eye. When they're looking at like an area that they're trying to hold, right, or take over, and like a person jumps out from somewhere, they're gonna shoot first and ask questions later. And unfortunately, that means, you know, some kids are gonna get shot, and it fucking sucks, and it's really sad, and it's stupid bullshit. Obviously, all of it. But it's not the same as like saying that, okay, they're purposefully targeting and murdering kids. Like, that's an entirely different dynamic.
True, they're not all snipers. No, anyway. I never said that they were fake. Bad and lied about it. Do you agree with that or no?
Take the island for the
No, I
glory
don't, because
of
you
our
tried to
not?
communicate what was happening.
What did no?
Islands.
You said
Okay.
the claim was that I
Okay.
said that they were fake
More than
images.
one.
I didn't say they were fake
Oh,
images.
goodness me. So this is all you're going to do. Just sit there and go, well, you said exactly this and I said exactly that.
Well,
I mean,
it's just interesting that if you can't concede on one piece of information,
Hold
then
on.
what's the
Okay,
point,
you want to watch
right?
a whole video on Bad Empanada then?
I can find you the clip where I say that the images are real, and then I'm like, why would you say I was saying they were fake? It's quite a simple discrepancy, isn't it?
Hold on.
Just to be clear, you brought up the claim that I was trying to clip stuff out of the stream to hide stuff.
Yeah, you
you brought that
definitely
up. We're talking about that because you made that claim. I've
Okay,
explained
brilliant.
I've explained to you that I pulled out a clip because it was TOS. Not
Okay,
that I
okay,
tried to hide
brilliant.
anything.
Really?
So, I mean, if you're just willing to concede that you had no idea what you were referring to when you said that, we can
No,
say that. and you
I'm
move
not
on.
going to concede because I think it's very
Okay,
obvious
so you can
behavior
just obviously
laid
lie.
out.
The
You
entire
know,
conflict is fucking retarded. I don't see this being resolved anytime soon. It's been retarded for a really, really long time. And yeah, I mean, like, I don't, unless something like drastic happens, which like, the world doesn't seem to be ready to do something drastic that's actually pragmatic. They're still sort of stuck in like the blame game, right? It's like point at one side, point at another side, and be like, it's these guys' fault, it's those guys' fault. When like in reality, you know, as like a stalwart Israel defender or whatever, right? The reality is it's like everybody has to fucking forget what's happened in the past in order to move forward to the future, and it just seems like that's not something that a lot of people are really willing to do right now, and that kind of sucks because it just means this is going to keep fucking going for a really, really long time. It's just fucking sad. Just fucking sad, man. But, you know, it's been going for a long time. I visited Israel twice. 2 times in my life I've been to Israel during the Second Intifada. Shit was crazy then. It's still crazy now. And sometimes conflicts go for like a long time. For example, I lived in, you know, I went to visit Israel during the Second Intifada. I lived in Haiti around 03, 04, and there was a coup back then. And, like, look at it now, right? Like, you know, what's the meme? Nothing ever changes guy, right? The nothing ever changes guy. Countries should not have exclaves, never ends well. Yeah. I mean, not never, but, like, a lot of the time for sure. I agree. Anthrax, it'll take generations. And it's going to take generations of, like, sustained, you know, ceasefire and peace for it to be okay. And it doesn't seem like either side is prepared to do that right now. Nagorno-Karabakh. Azerbaijan. Oh, yeah. Azerbaijan is like has a whole bunch of exclaves, right? Doesn't it? A couple years ago. Fuck. Bro. So I have always felt a kinship with the Armenians, like Jews and Armenians. I don't know, I get, because we've both been fucked super hard a bunch of times. And I don't know, like, it's always kind of made me feel like, all right, those guys, they get it. They know. And there's a lot of Armenians here in LA as well, so, like, I've known a lot. Keep in mind, with the sniper round, if you're shooting someone in the head, it's not a regular round, just cause bad enough damage. Most times you shoot a sniper round, there isn't much left of the head with an adult, much less a child. Yeah, that's true. Like, having the bullet embedded in the head doesn't really make sense, because sniper round is like, what? Sniper round caliber. .62. Fucking thick bullet. Artsakh. Later deep dive. Okay. How many exclaves? How many exclaves of Azerbaijan? Jesus, cryptic. 3 exclaves, okay. Of Armenia. 1. Okay. Okay. There's one country with a ton of exclaves. Belgium. 22 exclaves. India had a bunch at one point. Yeah, well, you know, that Indian border. Oh, God. The world is falling apart. Yeah, why would you trust Putin? Bad idea.
Okay, yeah. You can obviously lie and then just refuse to concede. That's fine as well, yeah.
Hold on, so all you're just going to do
So
is...
you don't know which bit I
shout at
clipped
me.
out, but you brought it up. You brought up the clipping.
Okay. So I didn't write down exactly the words that you clipped out, but it's very obvious what you were saying. You were trying to obfuscate the fact that Israel has been systemically massacring children, shooting them in the head, because there is absolutely no distinction between civilians and combatants in the Gaza Strip. But I would prefer to actually talk about, what we came onto, and I'd like to address the, initial points that you came up with. So if you really want me to concede that, and that will just shut you up for a second, that's fine.
Took you a while.
Okay, brilliant. So you said that I was a terrorist supporter for
Oh,
believing
that must have
Ken
been
Kugel
it,
might lie.
Averini. Yeah.
Not that he might lie.
Which country? Do you know? Bangladesh. Oh, whoa. Look at that. Pasha enclaves. Let's see, 102 and 21 Bangladeshi. So yeah, so that was that definitely was the most prior to this. Look at this. The world's only enclave within an enclave within an enclave. Third order enclave. Matryoshka exclaves. Like Matryoshka dolls? We have some of those. I wonder if I have some of them. Wait a minute. Hang on, guys. Because if I have one of the ones that I'm thinking of, y'all are going to love this. From when I lived in Russia. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm just going to check real quick. Nah, I don't. They're pretty cool though. So I had these old Matryoshka dolls where I had we 2 sets of them. I have to find them somewhere. One of them was all like the American presidents, like from Bill Clinton going back, and the other one was like all of the Soviet premiers. It was we got it when when I was a kid and we were living in Russia. Yeah, shit was pretty interesting. Anyway, interesting shit.
Hey, what the? That he might lie, or that you said that you basically didn't believe that the baby's children were strangled.
Yeah.
And your argument was some screenshot on Twitter says that it's difficult to analyze cause of death 14 months after the fact. And also, they lied about Shireen Abu Akleh.
A systemic pattern of lying much more like lying about the Al Ahly Baptist Hospital.
Your lie about the Al Ahly Baptist Hospital is absolutely ridiculous.
What was my lie about the Al Ahly Baptist Hospital?
You said that the Israeli government or the IDF lied about that rocket from the Al Jazeera video. But
Yeah, they
you
did.
understand.
They did
so,
lie.
I don't know where she is.
One
Television, they
one
lied on television,
spokesperson.
so-
Do you realize that the entire press thought that Al Jazeera video was most likely the rocket, right?
Who did those press work for, Loader Box?
Which press? AP,
Who gives them their directives?
Reuters?
How free is
The
this
Zionist
press?
do you think we're not talking about Israel's press, we're talking about international press.
Yeah, go on.
International press also used that Al Jazeera video thinking that it was most likely the rocket because it just looked a bit like it.
I think they like to parrot Israel's claims. I think that it's
What,
very difficult.
Associated
to say
Press?
what-
BBC?
Yes, I think it's 100% Loader Box. That's not even questionable.
So we have Zionist
Come
occupied
on,
press
you
and
know-
international
you
press.
must know-
Daniel, who
you must
is
know the
this?
BBC parrot.
Is this one of like the regular people he fucking goes with? This motherfucker's just about to say Zog, right? Fuck.
What Israel says.
The BBC were criticized because they parroted the Hamas claim on the rocket. That's what the initial press reaction
And then
was.
they pivoted very quickly and just parroted Israel's.
Well,
which was
because
the
it turned
objective
out
lie, right?
because it turned out that it was completely false, that it was an IDF airstrike.
But okay, so when it turned out that Israel lied, why was there no pivot again into saying all of a sudden actually Israel's lied here?
Well,
it's pretty provable
because
that
the
they
lie,
lied
the lie from Israel was one spokesperson from the IDF said, "I think it was this rocket," which it wasn't.
You're doing it again.
That was the lie.
He's not one spokesperson from the IDF. Who does he get his directives from?
Do you know the interaction between the spokesperson and the IDF when it comes to investigations?
Oh come on, Israel doesn't have free press. They have an extreme military.
Hang
sector.
on.
You know that, Loader
So you
Box.
just dodged the question. You don't actually know
Israel
what process the
doesn't have
spokesperson
a
goes through
free
before he goes on the media
press.
and talks about.
What the
what
fuck
he
is
thinks about it.
Haaretz then, bro?
You just admitted that you don't know.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean I admitted that I don't know?
Yeah, you admit you don't know. Yes, you did.
It's like
and
a
you were just
month
very
or so
pathetic
ago,
man
didn't
going,
it?
I was
Come on,
repeating what you
behave
were
like an
saying.
adult. No, you didn't. You just tried to shout at me
I was just
because you
repeating what you
actually
were
don't have an argument here. Hold on. So sorry. Do you admit that Israel has a military censor, right?
Yeah, they do.
So
That's got nothing to do with
sorry.
the
So
IDF
sorry.
spokesperson
Do you think the
falsely using
spokesperson's
Al
just
Jazeera
allowed to say
video.
whatever they want on TV? Do you think the spokesperson's just allowed to say whatever they want on TV?
The spokesperson's allowed to say whatever they want on TV. Spokespersons don't usually have that much regulation on what they're saying before each press statement. The consensus, it seemed to be in the international press as well as from the IDF, was that they thought that that rocket in the Al Jazeera video was the one that struck the hospital. It didn't even go into the IDF's final report, though. You can go on their website. They don't use that video.
Fantastic. Do they not? Do they really not? So why did they do it then? Why did Peter Lerner go on television and say, we know that this happened? He said, claimed that this footage captured the misfiring rocket responsible for the blast.
Because he's an IDF spokesperson who's trying to beef up his army. And at the time when this whole thing is in
What does
disarray,
beef up his army mean?
as in he was willing to
TikTok
jump to a
dipshit.
conclusion that he shouldn't
Oh
have.
God, dude.
Oh, okay. Without
Why
any
does
government
that
proof and no
whole
other Israeli
fucking Parker Dean group suck so much fucking ass? Oh, I will let you get away with a non-plural because circle actually works there. You know what I mean? It's- okay. Why does that group suck so bad? Because like Dean and Parker, aside from their views on Palestine that they've been completely propagandized into, like they're and this fucking stupid shit, obviously, about the fucking microaggressions and shit. They're not like that progressive in their political views. If you listen to them talk about like economics and shit, they're not like that far left. But on the social stuff, they're just fucked. True, Anthrax. What are we gonna do? At least we make up for it by owning Hollywood, right?
government officials said the same thing, that, oh, Hamas definitely struck this hospital. When
Well,
Israel
they probably
still
were.
has-
Because everyone was saying that at the time.
But you know as well, like Ghassan Abu Sitter, who was there, maintains 100% that Israel struck it.
Who?
And he was actually
Wait. Okay, he was
The
actually there.
Palestinians-
And
Yeah, he was there.
so wait, do you think that Israel actually did strike the Al Ali hospital? Are you still there?
100%, yeah.
Why do you disagree with forensic architecture when they say it was most likely a rocket?
Where does it say it was most likely a rocket? Because it says that all of the rockets from the photo burnt out. Where does it say it was
From
most likely?
all the rockets from which salvo? From the Islamic Jihad
Where
one or
does
the
it say
Hamas one?
most likely it was a rocket?
Yeah,
Where
let me
does it say
find
in
it
that
for you.
report
I'll
most-
find it for you. Okay.
There's no words most likely a rocket.
Okay, I'll show it for you. It might be likely or more likely. Al Ali. It's in my.
Yeah, they're young.
Israel, Palestine,
That's
Al-Ali,
my
blast,
thought.
friend.
It's like they're young. They've got a lot to learn. They've got a long way to go. I think eventually they'll like figure it out. I thought I was saying the other direction. I think they'll eventually grow out of it, right? Because they have to, right? Like that was interesting when we were watching that conversation on, for those of you who were there, on Tiny Stream earlier today, with that lady who came on and started being like, yo, this is fucking retarded as fuck. This is so dumb. You guys are fucking everything up. And, yeah, but I'm telling you right now, I think far leftism is like, the Democrats have shown, they've been having meetings and stuff about their plan for how there's no money to be made as a moderate, sensible streamer. Isn't Tiny like evidence that there is? I'll eventually graduate there, first price, my first Houthi. Oh, Daniel, that is unfortunately totally a valid option here, and it's out of my hands, bud. There's nothing I can do. You know how it goes, good buddy. Like, my hands are absolutely tied here. No, I did it wrong, too. I've done that before. Why do I keep doing that? Fuck. Okay. Made his fortunes off of gaming, though. No, he makes his money from streaming. He makes his money from streaming. Commit more microaggressions. More microaggressions, more like he abandons lefty super populism. True. And like as they get older, they'll have more life experience and they'll understand that things are a little bit more complicated than it seems to them. They're like fresh out of college, right? They don't understand the world yet. Yeah, no, that was an I. That was an I. The problem was I did a T instead of the second I. Like I didn't do your misspelling. But Tiny is edgy, analytical, which helps him. Also, not many other streamers actually put in the work to read material. I mean, Loner is pretty centrist. I think there are people. Hutch is pretty sensible, I think, right? But yeah, that lady came on today, and then the girl who was like hosting that TikTok chat, she was like saying that, yeah, what you're saying is good and stuff like that. And I guess that girl was like part of that fucking crew or whatever as well. And she was even recognizing that like, hey, I'm probably going to get flack for even saying this, but you're right. Hey, Cosmic, welcome. Welcome.
Forensic architecture. This is from, when was their final analysis? They did an initial one on...
March was 2020. March is the one I was looking at, or February, I don't know.
Okay. And this is
Israel
from,
has
so
yet to
initially they
comply
said it was an artillery fire that might have done it. And then they walk it back, and they do this Twitter thread here on November 14th, where they
So
say...
that's, which day? November 14th, 2024.
Yes. And they didn't walk this back,
2024.
by my recollection. They never actually said that it's more like...
Wait, November 24th when? 2023?
23, yes.
Yeah, that's something actually I'm thinking like I gotta start doing. Yeah. And that's kind of why I'm like, you know, guys, send me clips and shit to watch as well for me to react. That would be good stuff for me to clip as well. And do, so, you know, like if not just, like I said, not just politics, but slop retard shit as well. Stuff that I can make some good clips out of. So if you come across some shit for me to watch, you know, because Tiny watches some non-political stuff as well sometimes. Doesn't have to be long form, short stuff that I can react to as well, that I can clip up and post. Would be cool. Sometimes we make too many excuses for people. What do you mean? Sometimes a dipshit is a dipshit. Yeah, sometimes a dipshit is a dipshit. But I feel like Parker and Dean genuinely want to do good. They just don't understand a lot yet because they're very young. Athena is a dipshit. But like Parker and Dean, I don't think they're fully lost yet. That doesn't mean they can't be fully lost, but we'll see. Why do I think what, Cosmic?
Okay, so that's that's before the report that I...
Before the one that you're going for, but the one that you're going for doesn't actually make a claim about
thing.
how likely it was that it was a rocket or not. They just said it wasn't the salvo from Islamic Jihad. But they weren't the only ones firing rockets that day, were they?
So why hasn't Israel shown definitive evidence since, seeing as they have huge surveillance technology, complete control over the skies? Why haven't they shown?
Who were the first ones on the side?
That maybe, like if they stay, it could just be maximizing profit. I mean, like that's... I don't think... Listen, I like Parker and Dean. They're very good at gotchas. They've got their dialogue trees very well memorized. I don't think they are thinking that intelligently about it. I think they're genuinely saying what they believe. I mean, maybe they will, Neighbor Rooney. We'll see. I just don't... All I'm saying is I don't think they're fully lost yet. Maybe they will be eventually, but I think there's still a possibility of saving them. It gets smaller every day, but there's still a possibility. And like I said, I mentioned another one, not just Lonerbox. I don't know if you guys watch Hutch. Hutch is pretty sensible as well.
Site of the explosion.
What do you mean?
Were the IDF the first ones on the site after the explosion, or was it not Hamas?
What do you mean?
No,
Hamas
I
on the
agree.
site first?
I think it was the Hamas emergency services.
I'm not excusing it because of that. I'm just saying that, you know, I'm just responding to what Cosmic said. This guy's the profit for Parker and Dina's social currency. They want to stay in the good graces of their lefty peers and audiences. That's why we gotta rile up the Taliban to start invading their chats during their live streams, right? Start converting everybody. We gotta go Taliban on them.
And they're first.
You mean it was the Gaza Health Ministry?
No, not the health ministry. It would have been the it's whatever institution they have that runs the fire service and the emergency service. It's not the
Civil
health
Defense
ministry. Civil
Forces.
Defense. It was them. Yeah. You're also aware that they claimed to have a piece of the munition, but they never produced
And they
it.
didn't. Which,
Why
well,
don't
I mean,
I
what would be the
debate them in their chat? Because they only want to talk to Trump voters. I don't think it's a money thing as the main motivator. They just want to be popular. Yeah, like, I feel it's more like that, Cryptic. You could pretend to be one. I'm about it. I might do that eventually. Soon enough, I might do that eventually. I'm not totally against that idea.
point? Because there's no international investigators allowed in the Gaza Strip, really, is there?
Why would they not produce the?
But the only thing I could do is really argue Israel-Palestine, right? Because like anything else, it wouldn't be that interesting to me because I'm just arguing Trump talking points that I don't even believe in, which is like it's fine, right? But like, that's not what I would be trying to do with them.
Of the strike, though, they can show you the munition that landed there in the car park, didn't they?
Perhaps it got lost. You know, Gaza's been bombed a bit, hasn't it?
It didn't. It got lost. Are you joking?
Who knows, Loader Box, you know?
What do you
It's
mean?
true,
Who knows?
Rooney, and I
Is
say
that your
that
analysis?
all
Who knows?
the
I guess.
time. Whenever I'm talking to like my Republican or MAGA friends, I'm always like, listen, the loudest voices are the ones that you're hearing, and they don't represent the majority of us. Like, talk to more regular Democrats. Don't just look at who you're seeing fucking slinging shit on the internet because it's not representative. Do you believe their position on Israel-Palestine? No, I'm saying that's what it would have. If I were going to pretend to be a Trump supporter to debate with them, I would have to focus in on Israel-Palestine because that's the only thing I disagree with them on, which means, well, I don't know if it's the only thing. There's other things I disagree with them on. Obviously, this microaggression shit. But that would be the only thing like that we'd be having like a substantive conversation on. Because if I were just to like pretend to argue Trump shit, that'd be fine and I could do that, but it would be, I wouldn't find it that interesting personally.
You're also aware
that
that
everything there.
you're also
the hell out of everything there when you put it. And I've also, you know, I've met Ghassan Abu Sitin. He was there, and he maintains 100% that it was an Israeli rocket that struck it. The amount of deaths that were there, that were caused, the amount of injuries, it's not consistent with any rocket that, like any Palestinian group possesses.
How do you know that? It landed in a car park.
What
happens when
Gotta do
a
that
rocket lands in a
vent.
bunch of
Gotta do
cars
that vent.
around? What do
All
cars
my
have?
channel points that they're
I didn't think it would cause an explosion that big. And he
Based on
was
what? Based on what? Sorry, based on what?
Actually, if I recall, I was watching at least a Parker live, and he was saying that while he agrees that the healthcare system needs to be fixed, he definitely said that he never supports violence in order to do it. So I do think that they are not pro-Luigi. You could say you voted for the moron because the left was busy purity testing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Was calling him Genocide Joe and Holocaust Harris. Yeah. Yeah. But then, see, here's what's going to happen. I already know what they're going to do. Is they're going to start pivoting into, like, other things and be like, well, why would you vote for him? You don't agree with this or this or this or this or this. Why would you only do it for that one thing, right? Which would be the argument that I would make. Like, yes, I get that. I get that you see it that way, but then there's all of these other things that she would have been better at, which would be my argument to somebody who would say that to me.
What do you mean?
Based on what? What your instincts? So you don't think because a rocket that still has fuel in it because it's fallen short and lands in a car park where cars are full of fuel?
Hold on, Loader Box. But the forensic architecture noted that all of those from the salvo burnt up. The rocket fuel was burnt up.
They
So
only
we-
analysed one salvo. They analysed the Islamic
Oh, so
Jihad
there were
rockets.
loads more that they just forgot to analyse. Right. I see. Loader Box.
Can you
That makes
contradict
a lot
that?
of sense.
So do you disagree that Hamas were firing rockets that day as well?
Well, I mean, seemingly the big salvo was analysed, and there seems to be no specific.
Oh,
evidence
so I'll
that
ask you the
this
question
was-
again because you're dodging it.
Okay,
Do you
what?
disagree that Hamas...
Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find Parker's thing because I remember watching one of his lives and seeing him talk about that. Nah. But I remember hearing it and like in the moment being like, okay, I expected something more retarded than what he said. After the socialist siren Athena got to them, they may have full-size Luigi waifu body pillows now. I don't know. I mean, it was kind of recent, I think. I don't know, like, how much of Parker you guys have watched. I've actually spent quite a decent amount of time watching both him and Dean. It's a sympathetic take. I haven't seen what Dean says. MPD just proved they have the resources to solve any murder by catching. That's not true. Interesting, they only seem to care to deploy them when the victim is worth $50 million. I don't... Okay. So, sympathetic... I mean, you could see that as quasi-sympathetic. Especially because generally the narrative is that they don't go after rich people, right? That rich people get away with shit. So I guess you could see that. All I'm going off of is the one time I was watching like one of Parker's lives and somebody asked him if he was like cool with Luigi Mangione, and he was like, look, obviously the healthcare thing is like an issue, but I definitely don't support violence in order to deal with it. So no. Got killed, big deal is the undertone. Yeah. Oh, I got you. Yeah, I forgot. That's the thing, because they don't seem to realize that fucking Angione's fucking rich as shit as well. They always forget that part, don't they?
Hamas was firing rockets that day as well, like they posted on their Telegram.
But they're analysing
So
Hamas firing rockets.
they were
They
analysed 17 rockets from Islamic Jihad, you liar. Hamas were firing rockets as well that were not analysed by forensic architecture, no? God.
I mean, load of box.
You're also aware that you're also aware that if you look at Human Rights Watch, didn't they also say that one of their weapons analysts said that in like 25 years of doing this, it's never been the case where they've been unable to produce ammunition from a strike? Like that as in every time like a rocket or a missile or an artillery shell, it was from an ex-Human Rights guy, Human Rights Watch.
Where is it?
Let me find it for you. Wait, what claim did I just make out of interest?
You said that that there's a Human Rights Watch report where it was said that...
Not a report, an ex-Human Rights Watch analyst who said that...
So, forensic architecture maintain that they have debunked the claim that Israel has still not provided that it was a Hamas or Palestinian...
No, they haven't. They've just said... No, they haven't. All that forensic architecture...
That's kind of how I feel Anthrax. Like, but at the same time, like, they would just have put somebody else in there. He's doing his job as a CEO. His job is to do what the board tells him. I don't know if I can necessarily fault him specifically for that, because it would have been another guy. I definitely feel bad for his family, though, right? Like, murder sucks. And also, like, you know, from another perspective, like, the company has to stay competitive. Because if any healthcare company starts just giving sort of policies out and approving shit more than any other company, that's going to make their premiums go up, which is going to make them more expensive and less attractive as an option for healthcare for individuals and companies, which means they're going to lose business, which will then in turn make it even more expensive because the pool shrinks even further and eventually can put them out of business. And that kind of sucks the way that is, but at the same time, all that tells me is that the problem is absolutely legislation, 100% legislation, which is another reason why like it is like extra heinous, right? Because it's going to be kicking more people off of Medicaid with these fucking work requirements. It's fucking terrible.
They have. Look at their report with Ghassan Abu Sitta. They say that we have, since we, among others, debunked this claim.
Which claim?
They say
read before
the source of the blast was immediately a point of contestation. Israeli officials suggested that a failed rocket launched by Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad. This seems to be the only thing you have that you're like, well, actually, Hamas did this. No, look at the October report.
The October report, which they walked back on.
What do you mean? This is October 2024. So it's a year later.
So you understand that they analysed in that one with the 17 rockets, that's from an Islamic Jihad rocket barrage. It's in just them.
Sorry.
And also...
So, yeah, the companies do take advantage of people, Anthrax, but, like, if it wasn't him, it would have been a different CEO, basically, and they're really just remaining competitive, right, from a business perspective. The best way to fix that is legislation. The companies aren't going to put themselves at a competitive disadvantage just to help people, as fucked up and shitty as that is. And if he were to do that, he just would have been fired and replaced with somebody else. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's a fuck. Yeah, it is 100%. Exactly. I agree.
You also acknowledge that they are the only ones who made this conclusion that all 17 rockets were accounted for.
What do you mean? Well, I think they've done by far the most succinct analysis of it. Can you
Well, no, I mean, everyone else has been clear, as well as forensic architecture as well, by the way, when they said that the crater was most consistent with a rocket. I've showed you that as well. I need to add you as a friend for you to accept.
Including the crater. Based on videos and photographs, the Arthmetic, we constructed a digital model and conducted a spatial analysis of each of the blasts, including the crater and impact.
Yes, so...
a digital reconstruction of the crater to locations of the shrapnel markings, image of the blast of the shrapnel corner. Much of the analysis of today's explosion has been conducted from afar. By contrast, Dr. Abu Sister's testimony offers a ground-level view. Since the start of Israel's assault, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so why do you think it's so strange that, they would, Israel wouldn't attack this hospital when they've got a systemic pattern of...
I'm going to leave the conjecture because we can just look at... You don't even agree on what these organizations said. You don't even agree on what these organizations said. So forensic architecture, November 14th, they say on October 20th, we shared an image of what we suggested could be an artillery shell impact crater.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we're going to be, like, super, super, super broad about our definition of taking advantage, you could sort of, to an extent, that's kind of how capitalism works. But it's not always bad. In this case, unfortunately, it's bad. But as, like we just said, like, it has to be legislated in order to be fixed.
This was a mistake. The image likely showed impact from a rocket. Now, if my recollection is, the crater did not change at any point between November 2023 and March 24. So forensic architecture still says likely impact from a rocket, like every other investigation that went into this. And the fact that Hamas and Islamic Jihad said that they had a piece of this munition, never produced it. The next day, it wasn't that it got lost in an Israeli airstrike or anything else. It's that he just said that it dissolved like salt in the water, which is what you say when you are lying.
Brilliant. So do you think that this is out of line with Israel's general behavior in Gaza? Like, do you not think that Israel systemically targets...
Sorry. I'm not...
Neighbor Rooney with the fucking smoke. I didn't really know much about his background. That's very interesting.
I'm not letting you get away with just worming your way around that entire analysis and acknowledging that no one, not one, Qassam rockets? No.
Did Israel not have any rockets? Well, where does it say that it was a Qassam rocket? And why, if it was a Qassam rocket, there would be video footage that Israel would surely have access
to? Which munitions are Israel firing into Gaza that they would say they fire artillery, they have airstrikes, they have drone strikes? If they're saying impact from a rocket...
But also, it doesn't say that it was impact from a rocket on here.
Likely, they say likely showed impact from a rocket. Have they walked back from that? Have they changed that since in recent investigations? I don't think they have.
So, Dr. Abu Sitter's assessment, this suggested to him that the rocket was likely a fragmentation bomb. Following the blast, many news outlets cited the claim. However, our analysis suggests that the rockets identified by the Israeli army would have burned through their propellant. Like, this is exactly what they're saying. So you keep maintaining that this is a Hamas rocket, right? But there's no example. Like forensic architecture, if you can provide me someone who's done like digital analysis like this, reconstructed what happened, and says exactly the same thing, I will concede my point here. But you're just going.
So you disagree that CNN, New York Times, Associated Press all said that this was most likely a rocket, like a Hamas or Islamic Jihad rocket?
When did they say that? When did they say that?
They said it in November. They said it. Yeah, November.
Straight after Israel.
I can't believe like in 2025, this guy still thinks that Al Ali Hospital parking lot was hit by a fucking Israeli rocket. Like all of the big news organizations ended up having to retract that because it was so fucking wrong. Like, how does he still think that? Did he just miss all of that? You just miss all of that completely?
On television and said this, right?
What do you mean straight after? One is from 22nd of November, one is from November 2nd. So wait, just because Israel went on television and said it, then it could also be the case that Israel's claim corresponded with the truth in this one case. I don't know.
I don't think it does.
You don't even know what forensic architecture said. You thought they accounted for every single rocket that was fired out of Gaza at that point, when all they did was went for the Islamic Jihad salvo. You don't know anything.
Forensic architecture.
I mean, this is kind of like the point that you think you're a genius on. You think you're doing like some kind of brilliant military analysis, but like,
I'm literally just reading what the analyst...
Did you hear that, Cope? Oh, you think you're so smart. Oh, you think you're so smart. Blah, blah, blah. You think you're doing some brilliant military... Oh, my God, dude. Fucking Cope harder. Jesus Christ.
Said, and you're not. You're cherry picking the fact that one video...
What analyst are you reading? Like, what analyst?
Well, first of all, I'm reading forensic architecture. It was a former UN. From November. On October, they said artillery.
The fucking source that he himself cited.
Exactly. So I'm talking about a year later.
They've never changed their claim on the crater, which they said was most likely a rocket impact. Have they?
Well, they don't even say that in the 2024 one.
Wow, so they haven't walked back the claim that it's most likely a rocket, which means they are still bound to the claim that they think it was most likely a
model
rocket.
of the hospital and conducted a spatial analysis of features of the blast, including the crater and impact. It doesn't say that it was caused by a rocket here. It says it suggested to him the rocket was likely to have been a fragmentation bomb. Do Hamas possess those?
You're just talking about Abu Sitas, though.
Do Hamas possess fragmentation bombs? Well, he was there, and I kind of trust his testimony over Israel's.
Okay, well, that's your...
That's the thing that drives me fucking nuts, is like everything that Hamas says they will always believe. Anything that Israel says they will never believe unless it supports their argument. And then they'll be like, look, Israel said it. Israel said it.
You don't care what the investigations say.
What do you mean the investigation says? This is an investigation with forensic architecture, where they reconstructed what he was saying.
I'm talking about investigations from, first of all, forensic architecture when they looked at the crater and said most likely a rocket, like everyone else did. I don't know why, just because forensic architecture, who literally calls them the IOF in their Twitter threads, by the way, not a particularly...
God,
so just admit you're a propagandist. You don't give a...
What do you mean? What do you mean?
If you're going to
What do you
change the
mean?
name
What
of an
does he mean?
organization
You're a fucking
to like a propaganda term,
propagandist.
calling it the IOF, then you're just a propagandist. You don't give a...
What do the Israeli occupation forces mainly do, Loaderbox? Where do they serve?
What are they called is the question. They're called the
Where do they
IDF.
serve? No. Where do they serve?
Oh, okay, I guess I'll just call Hamas a resistance organization, even though they fire their attacks into a sovereign country. Even though they fire their attacks into sovereign territory by international law, right?
Hold on, Loaderbox. So right, where do Israel operate? Where are the Israeli forces predominantly?
They operate right now in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and in the West Bank.
But where are they predominantly? Where's the largest amount of forces right now and generally over the last 20 years?
West Bank.
So
that doesn't mean that
what, is the West Bank occupied?
That doesn't mean you have to call them.
But is the West Bank occupied?
That doesn't mean you have to call them the IOF.
No, but is it? Stop nitpicking. Is the West Bank occupied?
Yeah.
So would it be someone saying, well, actually calling them a defense force when they spend most of their time defending settlements, arresting Palestinians and harming them, would it be that inaccurate to call it
so we just not call it the USSR because it's not a union of Soviet Socialist republics?
I mean, if an organization wanted to, yeah.
And if an organization wanted to call them the batshit Central Command, like famine overseers, really, that would be okay because that's what they were. Yeah, and you would trust the historian who calls them that. Okay, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah,
I know, that's kind of dumb.
I mean, Loaderbox, what's Israel done over the last, month? What's it not allowed into Gaza?
Journalists.
No, not just journalists. Food, water, anything, right? They're calling it Hell's Plan.
Okay.
So what? You think calling them famine?
Wait, why am I not letting you dodge the fact that you still don't actually, you didn't even know what happened with the forensic architecture investigation? You thought they accounted for every rocket that was fired that day.
Loaderbox. The whole
no one has proven. So apart from Abu Sitta you're shouting. I'm shouting.
What your point here is, and what you're trying to say to me is, you don't know exactly what happened.
Well, these are claims that you brought up, by the way. You brought up these claims.
What I am saying is,
also, this is a former UN war crimes investigator.
Can you not talk?
Former UN war crimes investigator. In 20 years of investigating war crimes, there's always a piece of bomb, and this is the first time in 20 years.
I do that.
Even 3 years, 3 wars in Gaza.
So Loaderbox.
Even 3 wars in Gaza, and he hasn't seen a single piece of bomb.
You're going to shout over and over me again.
From the
the point in my video was not what I mean. I knew you would do this. You're just a debate lord. You're like, oh, you don't know every single thing.
You've literally dodged every single point.
But let me just say something, Loaderbox. Let me just say something. The point in my video was Israeli spokesmen like to lie. They go on television. They make outlandish claims to say something that they cannot prove, that they cannot verify. Why do they do that? Well, they spread disinformation to fuel their narrative. What did Israel begin to do on a far larger scale after?
Just waiting for you to make a single substantial point on the investigation or on the female children or anything else. Like, this is just narrative. Like, just give me a point.
How is it narrative? Loaderbox? It's a very
because you're not saying anything because you just realized that you have no idea what any of these investigations have the consensus on the Al-Ali blast. You don't know. You don't know what the consensus is on the Al-Ali blast.
I don't know what the consensus is.
He clearly has
the
no
consensus is that it was most likely a rocket.
All you can do is shout over me because you keep saying I'm dodgy. You keep saying that I can't answer things. So why I brought this up was to say Israeli spokesmen lie on TV. Do they lie on TV? Do they spread lies? You said it was to fire up their army, whatever that means. But really, you know why they lie, don't you? To discredit Palestinians and make it seem like they spread lies, and so Israel could then go on and attack more.
Isn't this literally like every
my
lie?
God,
why does Hamas lie?
What do you mean?
Why does Hamas lie?
Why
does Hamas lie? Yeah, why do they lie?
What do you mean? Why do Hamas lie? For their own gain, but we're talking about Israel lying. Why are you just pivoting to Israel?
I'm not pivoting, but you're just asking why a particular army lies. Yeah, probably for the same reason the spokespersons from every army lies. Is there something special about the way Israel lies?
Yes, because they have systemically attacked hospitals since. It is not outlandish to think, okay, let's add up this forensic
the claim wasn't about raiding hospitals. The claim was about airstriking a hospital and killing. The claim was about airstriking the claim was about airstriking a hospital, flattening the building, and killing 500 people. That was the original claim.
Never flattening the building.
Well, the original claim was that it killed 500 people. You'd have to formally flatten the building to do that.
I think it's now claimed. I mean, on the ground, mate. If you're dealing with 400 bodies in front of you.
But you do actually admit that that 500 claim was bullshit, right? You actually
it's 471.
Yeah, you admit that you admit that 471 was bullshit. That no one else confirmed anything close to that.
I mean, well, the problem is, Loaderbox, I would love them to be able to confirm it, and someone's
you can't do it.
Hold on, but why can't that happen?
There were international aid workers on the ground when that happened.
But it's not just international aid workers. There's no one allowed to go in by Israel. Why do they keep denying full UN investigations into October the 7th? Why do they keep denying journalists to go into Gaza, international journalists? Why do they keep denying UN journalists?
What does that have to do with the fact that there were? What does that have to do with the fact that there were international aid workers on the ground when that strike happened? So yes, the 471 claim is bullshit because there were already international people on the ground.
Abu Sitta is one of them. What is your point here? Abu Sitta is one of those international aid workers who maintains what he saw, and he said no one asked him from Amnesty, Human right to watch all of these places. They chose to not speak to him. Now, my point here, and even in the video, I actually say what forensic architecture cannot say is definitively who struck this, but what they can say is that Israel lied, and that was the point there. And what you
Can they not say? Did Hamas not lie about?
Let's see. Pax Romana, that looks fun. I love strategy games like that. I'm definitely excited. I've played like a little bit of some of the earlier ones.
By the strike as well, they said 471 people died. That was a lie. That didn't happen.
I mean, how do you know it's a lie? How do you know it's a lie?
Because there were international aid workers on the ground and people corroborated their claims of how many people died. And then it was, what do you mean what report? Like you need a UN report to show how many people died on one day? You trust the health? Wait, you trust the health ministry? What do you mean? Where's the report?
I mean, what do you mean?
What do you mean? Where's the report? Like what report? Like a news report?
So apparently the United States estimates between 100 and 300 killed. Al-Shifa estimates 250. Gaza Health Ministry estimates 471. Either way, load box. I do think that that's splitting
so
hairs.
471. Wait, so it's so there's a lot. Do you know what else is splitting? Do you know what else is splitting hairs? Arguing over an Al Jazeera video of a rocket that everyone thought looked like it was the one that hit the hospital, and then saying, oh well, that one wasn't actually the rocket, and therefore the IDF lied. Like that's that would be splitting hairs. Would be well, this video wasn't actually the rocket that struck the hospital, but everyone still agrees it was a rocket.
Pointing to a still from
Everyone still agrees it was most likely a rocket.
mid-air explosion. He claimed that this footage captured the misfiring rocket. So he claimed directly that it captured it. He didn't just say, oh, sorry, excuse me.
Bro, listen. They don't understand the power of Jewish sorcery, okay? That's a sorcery that Doctor Strange could never aspire to. PvP style of AoE or Factorio set in the ancient world. I think it's more like strategy-based, like civilization-y.
Excuse me. Sorry, Loaderbox, I haven't got much respect for you, so I didn't mute my mic. But, you know, anyway, Peter Loaderbox went on and lied, right? So, like,
so rude,
sorry,
dude.
I mixed up words there, but Peter Lerner went on
So
and lied.
fucking
right?
rude.
So that happened.
Yeah, and Hamas lied as well, though, didn't they? The health ministry
But
lied
you
about it
keep
as well.
saying Hamas lied. You keep saying
They did
Hamas
lie.
lied. Hamas, about what?
About the death toll. No one else agrees with it.
But what would it matter if there was... Okay, so...
What would it matter if it was a different rocket and not the one in the video? It's why is one splitting hair and one isn't?
Well, still even, Loaderbox.
Why is one splitting hairs and one isn't?
Okay.
Jews wield magic.
Why is one splitting hairs and one isn't?
Oh man, we've always wielded magic, but now that you know, we're gonna have to send Mossad to take you out because you weren't supposed to know about that. Vadim, bring me the spellcaster hat. Let's go, Vadim. Fucking bring me the spellcaster hat, Vadim. Fuck.
He says 471. They've
Yeah.
been pretty accurate on everything. In fact, they've undercounted the deaths in Gaza.
What
Can
can
you
I
admit
say,
that?
bud?
Yes, why is one splitting hairs and one isn't?
Shouldn't have asked so many questions.
About the rocket video.
Because this is just debate, Lord. My point is that
No, it's not
Israel
debate, Lord.
lied
It's just
on
that you think it's splitting hairs. You think it's splitting hairs to fabricate 270 deaths, but it's not splitting hairs to say that it was actually
What
this
do you
video
mean?
of a rocket when it was something else.
What?
Why is one splitting hairs but not the other?
This is remember, I don't know if you guys remember, this is the same rocket strike they're talking about. This is like a month or two ago. This is the same rocket strike they're talking about where Hassan did the, it's a fucking JDAM, I can hear it. Shit. That's where that meme comes from, is this fucking rocket strike that they're talking about. And the fact that now, like a year and a half later, this guy still thinks that it was an Israeli missile when, like, everybody has basically understood that it was like a Hamas or Islamic Jihad rocket that malfunctioned and like broke up and shit, is crazy. It's because he like is willfully ignorant.
Influenced massive amounts of international news, and the other one, regardless of how many
Wait,
people
you
died.
don't. The entire every news organization walked back on the 471 claim.
All
Yes.
you can do is shout over me to make yourself feel better whilst your chat are all like,
You
oh, that's so
literally-
great.
Yes, exactly.
The truth is, Loaderbox, right?
Literally
Let's be
all
frank, let's
caps.
end this here. Let's end this here. I just have a loud voice, mate. Let's end this here.
Oh,
You're
I just have a loud
actively
voice as
raising your
well.
No, you're actively raising your voice. My voice is just very loud. It's something that people always
Okay, well,
want
I need to
my
match your loud voice. What's wrong with that?
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant, Loaderbox. You really are like a very...
Thank you. You make a point. Come on, don't be on the push.
True.
The whole point of my video was Israel lied. But you know what as well? You call me...
But you also don't understand. But you seem to have missed the fact that Hamas lied as well, and also influenced all the headlines.
You seem to have missed the fact that Israel, said we didn't strike this hospital.
Well,
Israel has then gone to a strike.
Anthrax, you are welcome to sub for whatever reason you want, boy. That is up to you.
Hospital after hospital.
I will never say no.
Yeah, so that's what I don't get, though. That's what I don't get,
Why would they
because-
send a spokesman on to just say things?
That's
Why
what
would
I-
you do that?
that's what I don't- that's what I don't get, though,
If
because
you're a
you're-
professional army, why would you go on and say we definitively know that this was a Hamas or Islamic Jihad. It's not even a news organization, Loadbox. That is an army that went on and said those things. Anyway, you also call me a
The news
terrorist for
organization
saying
said
that
it
Chen Kugel might lie.
Oh,
Hold on. You call me a terrorist for saying that Chen
Thank
Kugel
you.
might lie.
No, that's not
Anyway,
what I said. That's not what I said. I said you were doing
For
because you basically said that you
the
didn't think that the BS
follow.
children
Why
were
did
strangled
you
because you saw a tweet
show up
of a
in
screenshot
chat?
of what looked like a ChatGPT answer that said, "What did it say?
Yeah, I mean-
It's hard to analyze
Fucking
death,
kickbot.
cause of death at 14 months after the fact. Hard to, difficult to, difficult."
I think that's pretty plausible, Loadbox. I feel like
Pretty plausible, yeah.
basic-
Because
Oh,
you jump to
shit!
a conclusion about murdered
Oh,
babies for no
thank you!
reason
Yeah.
other than the fact that you want
Yes.
Hamas to win.
No,
and you're
Holy
upset
shit,
that they're not
thanks
winning.
so
That's
much,
it.
dude.
Hold on.
Everybody,
You have no evidence.
fucking dubs and applause for Anthrax. What a beast. Thank you for the sub, brother, and welcome. And just FYI, no wizards. Wizards are called off. I'm already making the call. I'm gonna have custom sub badges really soon, within a couple weeks. So we have that to look forward to, by the way.
You had nothing. You didn't even look into the fact that it wasn't even Hamas that
What's
had
your
babies.
Loadbox? Can you show me the
Big
autopsy report?
W's. Big W's.
The report from the forensics
your
was that they were
evidence?
strangled.
Thank you,
No,
man. I
where is
appreciate it.
this autopsy report? Because I haven't seen it anywhere.
Really?
It
So
doesn't seem to-
wait, do you think the
It
health
does-
ministry
it's
should?
never been released.
Do you think the health ministry should release every autopsy report?
Well, I think maybe in the case of like this,
Well,
where it's
okay,
released,
okay. So
where
you
they
only
said
want it
something
from you only want it
publicly.
from the health. You only want it from the Israelis, but not from the health ministry. I see.
do
Yeah,
you
it's
mean? What
almost
do I
as if
want from
like
the-
they're.
what do I
It's almost as if
what do I
they're.
not want-
You don't want. Do you want autopsy reports from every death in the health ministry before you
What
believe
health
it?
ministry are you talking about? Well, it's
The
a very
Gazan.
specific death, isn't it, Loadbox? But anyway,
Why does it matter if it's a specific death? You realize there are a
Because
million
it's a
reasons
huge
why
case,
people.
Loadbox.
Why
It's
do
a
you think?
huge case,
Oh, so you think the
Loadbox. It's a
family?
huge
So
case.
you think the family
Israel made
should
a very
publish?
We're going
You
warp
think the family should
speed.
publish the health
Well, no,
ministry
because
the forensic report just to make
Israel
you
had
happy?
already made the decision to go against what the Bibas family wanted, right? Like Israel, used it for political gain.
Did they
when
want
the
the,
Bibas
did they
family
did they
was
actually
not.
did they want the forensic report with the photographs and everything to be published?
Well, you could redact the photographs.
No,
but
they
anyway.
didn't. Did they want the forensic report published or not?
But the forensic report isn't published.
Did they
Like,
want
it's
it
just not-
published?
But they didn't want anything that the Israeli government did. So
Did
the
they
Israeli
want it-
government
did they
has
want the
acted
forensic report
without
published?
Sorry. What do you mean?
That's the only question that matters. Did they ask to publish
They
the forensic
published
report or
things
not?
about the family without actually asking. And anyway,
So the family doesn't want things published without asking.
yeah, and the Israeli government did it anyway.
So you
It's
don't.
my
So they
point,
shouldn't.
Loadbox.
So what's the problem then? Should they not publish? Should they publish the forensic report against the will of the family?
I mean, they've already published whatever they wanted. So
We're
if they're
talking about that.
making
We're talking about the
outrageous claims
forensics.
like
Hang on. We're talking. You have two standards at once now. We're talking about the forensics institute. I agree. They shouldn't publish
this. Well, the
information
Forensic
that the
Institute,
family
I
doesn't want.
think that the Forensic Institute already spoke. But anyway, Chen Kugel said that he saw beheaded babies on October the 7th.
No, he didn't. He was never quite directly saying that.
Oh
Yes,
no,
it's
here we go.
paraphrased.
The fucking
No,
40
there's a
beheaded
video.
babies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Here
there's a
we
video of
go.
him talking about the youngest person that he saw was beheaded was a girl
Here we
aged 10. He didn't even say
go.
he
No,
knew. He didn't even say he
it's
knew
him.
how she was beheaded. You realize that when people go between
Where
Hebrew
are you
and
sending me
English,
things? Where are you sending me things?
you
I'll
have
put it in there.
to accept
I'll
my
put it
friend's
in-
request.
I'm not accepting your friend request. Go on your introduction.
shit.
Are
and
you
find
that
it
petty that you wouldn't accept a request on Discord to get a message sent to you?
there. Yeah, bro. I don't want to see. I don't
Why?
want to see
That's
that.
just,
Half all
it's
night
just
watching Hamas propaganda
It's just
videos.
to send you
Anyway,
a message, bro. What the?
Loadbox, you're like
What's
40
wrong
and
with
you're
you?
shouting at me. You're
Yeah.
40
I'm
and
not shouting. I'm
at me.
laughing at you. I'm
You are
directing.
shouting at me. But anyway,
Shit's
Shit,
real
even-
slow when it's not on my SSD, Daniel. I know that life. Holy fuck.
You're upset that they didn't release a forensic report, even though you know
Stalin
that the family
too,
didn't want it
Cosmo.
published. Why?
They
what do you mean?
both they
Because Israel
both had
already
that
publishes
smoke.
whatever it wanted against the family's will. Anyway, I sent you the video in
What do
introduction.
you mean,
So there's
Israel?
30
First of all, the Forensics Institute is its own institution, okay? And it's
Yeah, but it
clear
doesn't-
that
come
they
on,
would have
mate.
needed, they would have
Come on,
needed
mate.
permission. They would have needed permission to send the forensic report out to the public, and obviously they didn't want to do that. So why would they? Your evidence is you don't even know who held them hostage. You thought it was Hamas.
I didn't know
even
it was the Mujahideen
you,
brigade.
no, you not in your stream. You didn't. You lied. You said that it was Hamas the whole time. You lied, or you didn't even do your due diligence.
What do you mean?
So you talk about
I was on a
expressing
stream.
you talk about expressing skepticism, and you uploaded the video from your an
So?
upload. Yeah, you uploaded
Mate,
that video,
like, honestly,
and the entire
honestly,
time you said it was
honestly,
Hamas. You didn't even bother to
honestly.
check who had them hostage. What a
Also-
fraud! Get the
also,
fuck
no,
out of here.
no,
Leave me alone. Hell, waste of time. Jesus Christ.
Ooh,
All to
kicked
lie
him
about
off.
a dead baby who got strangled by their captors.
Absolutely,
Okay, waste of
Cosmic.
time.
Found in a puddle
How
of
does
his
it
piss.
feel to talk
Indeed.
to a
I still
TikToker?
use hard drives for anything but
Particular
pictures and
energy, isn't
shit.
it?
Well, okay, so one thing, Anthrax, you'll learn is I'm still using a potato ass PC. It's holding up pretty well, but we're talking like a i7 7700, 1080 GTX, right? 16 gigs of RAM. It's fucking old. It's like almost 10 years old, right? It's still holding out, but this baby's a potato. Which is again why, I'm always so thankful for a sub, because eventually this is going to go towards me getting a new PC. Yeah, exactly. Eventually I'll be buying a new PC with the stream and shit. Yeah. One day.
There.
Inshallah.
Why do you think people call him Chris Cutler?
I didn't know people called him that. That's
Oh, it
mean.
is Cutler, Daniel.
His name on TikTok is, I think it's Chris Cutler or some shit, but everyone just calls him Chris Cutler.
No.
I was very tempted to hop in, but I know he would whine about it, so I held off.
Yeah.
Regardless, good luck with the next TikTok debater.
No.
I don't know where the one I'm trying to get to go through happens, but
It's just a grift, man. Why are these people so toxic? Like, Jesus Christ.
I don't know. But I think it's
He
like
just came in right off the bat. He didn't have anything
I
prepared.
think-
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think if he was like friendly towards you, he'd get shit for it from his like the grifting
I
fans he
know.
has.
There's a real, yeah, whatever.
So, yeah, But that means they just have no backbone.
Pretty much.
Like, yeah.
He's posting Zay Squirrel tweets in Discord now. What the?
Who's Zay Score?
Zay Squirrel. The person who lied about the on October 7th. The person who actually clipped out.
Where does he?
I don't know. We didn't even get to it.
I don't think he does.
She literally chopped out the segment that said there was a pattern of systematic, of like there was a widespread pattern of sexual violence, but just clipped that part out because the same sentence, the same paragraph also said that we don't know that Hamas ordered it. We haven't had evidence of that. Pathetic. Okay, get out.
Are you telling me to get out? What the brother? Well, he's gone. Oh, did you kick him out of the Discord server?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I don't usually like talking like that to people, but if they're gonna be that bad faith, then yeah, you're gonna have to. What am I gonna do?
Super
just
bad.
sit down and
faith,
take it like a little.
guy.
Sit in the corner and take it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I don't get to like railroad you and like accuse you of a million different war crimes, but it's debate, bro, when you try to like hold me back on it. Like, me. Jesus. The projection.
That is ableist. You guys are being ableist.
I can't help it. Why are you shouting at me? If you just don't like Jews.
No, I'm sure he has a lot of Jewish
True.
friends from Jewish Voices for Peace, or the version of it in the UK.
God, I hate
Anyway,
it
no
when
more
people
bitching.
fucking
Take on.
cite
I think
JVP as if
Plus,
it's
things
not
like that
like
will get
run
him
by a
internet
bunch of fucking
I don't think he actually
Muslims,
believes
dude.
anything. He just wants internet clout. That's the easiest way to get it.
Don't care.
Pretty sure that's the thing.
Can't stand
Alright,
Z
talk to you
Squirrel.
later.
They're one of the most racist
Goodbye.
trash people on Twitter. I don't know who that
So how you
is.
been?
How have I been?
Who is that? Send me links.
Oh, you know,
I want to
just,
look.
justifying all the war crimes.
Yo,
I guess.
Do I want to look?
I can't. I'm pretty sure. You know the person I'm telling you to like debate or whatever. She's talked to him like a couple of times, and they hate each other's guts.
It's kind of frustrating now that I can't really like do these debates anymore because every time I do, some like lefty psycho comes into my chat to dox me and shit. Someone actually posted my address during that debate just as well I'm moving.
What?
Why?
What the?
Yeah.
Like just now? Okay.
Yeah, like just like a half an hour. I mean, we got them banned pretty quickly, but like, yeah.
Who's the
Not nice.
guy?
Who's the
You
guy?
debate.
Oh, he's just some TikTok bedwetter. I don't know.
Bedwetter.
TikTok bedwetter.
You know. You know.
Oh,
he
you can't
doesn't know
do
what
that
means.
to
Why
me.
do keep
You
saying
can't
it?
like
You know what bedwetter means,
dangle that shit in front of
Mr.
me and then
Spider?
say no.
Me? Does it mean like you wet your bed?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Do you have any of those in America, or are they just only in
Do you have wet beds in America?
what beds?
Yeah. I'll say yeah.
You have water beds in America.
Maybe do in Miami.
Are water beds actually worth it? Or are they just like
No, they're disgusting. I've never even been in one. I just know. Okay, I know.
you just know? Okay, that's a lot of assumption from a guy that's never experienced it. Okay,
You sure?
that's like telling how a Gaza should feel in Gaza.
Whoa, Russ, thanks for the 20 gifted subs. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I got one.
I don't know half these
You know,
people.
I
That's
can't
fair.
say that to you.
It's not enough, honestly.
You've probably
because, my
seen
God, what a
this
fucking
person
cold.
before if you use Twitter's account as
Listen, you did
ZI
that told
Squirrel.
yourself,
Okay,
buddy.
let's take a look.
Yep. Jesus
as
Christ.
soon as you pulled up that video, I told you. By the way, that guy is literally known as Chris Cutler. I don't think you're gonna enjoy this in your chat. And you just, I don't know if you saw it. You probably didn't.
Yeah. It's so weird that someone like accuses.
Let's see. Ugh. Oh God. Person in Loanerbox debunked they poorly photoshopped out a paragraph of the UN report. Oh my God. That is so shitty, dude. Holy crap. The Twitter squirrel about as unhinged as Bad and Banana. Gross. They've been active on Twitter for years, banned multiple times. Yeah, some of this shit goes way back. This is fucking stupid. Ugh.
Accuses you of being a debate bro and then just does all the debate bro tactics where they can't even like concede the most obvious point, like no preparation, dodging every question that's going to get them exposed for not knowing what they're talking about. Like, it's just so stupid. Like how many stumbles was that? Like first of all, it was not knowing, falsely believing that I'd clipped stuff out, that I said the New York Times images were fake. Then it was the Al Ali hospital blast and not knowing that everyone's consensus on that now is that it was a rocket and the Hamas's
bro. I
claims
can't
were
believe we're still
complete
talking about
bunk.
that.
I'm angry with you about this. Actually, you should have like forced him to watch the anti-Hamas protest videos.
Oh,
What he would
yeah,
say about
whatever.
that.
There was what else was there?
Because
There was
he called Hamas the resistance, so he probably thinks they're completely justified in anything.
there was him not even knowing how the baby's children were killed, and then
That'll
not
be
knowing that
alright,
there are obvious
Cryptic.
reasons
I've
why
been
you
on
wouldn't publish an autopsy
Threads.
report of a dead baby.
I don't
but
know if
apparently
you
it's-
guys have been on Threads, but it's literally Twitter for leftists. It's the fucking worst, dude. It's insane.
okay for the health ministry to not publish autopsy reports for every death? Like me.
It's not even that. It's
What a
you wouldn't even
hack.
accept your friend request to see the evidence of what you were saying.
Yeah, well.
Also, by the way, next time for people like that, if you do want to show them evidence, or should they shut up? And they're like, I'm not accepting the friends of war crimes justified. Just send them into your stream chat. You have this channel that's a voice channel. It has a side chat that you send shit.
Oh,
in.
yeah, I know I can send it there, yeah. We'll do it next time.
Why don't you? Like every time I have to send it to you, probably because you never use this chat.
Just like have her sources like on the standby. All right. Boom, 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 boom.
He did.
But
The guy just
did?
didn't want to accept the friend request to take the source.
Well, he's going to
Yeah,
do
the
it.
source-
He'll do his little
the
TikTok
source-
video and screech at the camera or whatever for 10 minutes, so that'll be fine. Hassan will watch it. He'll get his
He
little
was worried that
fucking-
Leonard,
complex payout.
he was worried that Leonard was going to get him while he was young. That was what he was worried about.
Get him while he's young.
Get him on this,
Oh,
I mean-
oh, it's because Bad Potatoes dogs me on Instagram. That's why. Okay, nice. Okay.
Yes?
Still,
Banger.
That's crazy shit.
Well, it's a good thing I'm leaving soon, eh? Freaks.
wait,
All right,
first row,
United States.
Yeah.
Hey.
colonizer.
All right, what are we talking about?
Boys.
What's the news? So Sulfur was offering to moderate that debate. Bro, you are pissing in the wind if you think that kid was ever going to engage in any level of good faith. Like, no way.
Dude, Threads is
It's a shame,
so
because
bad.
it's sad to see how that kind of
It's
behavior gets
so
rewarded, you know?
bad.
Especially for such a young little pup, you know? Did you expect it to be
no.
good faith going in? I think people can be.
Daniel,
People can at least be willing to just
oh,
engage with a point
no.
and just kind of like talk through and give
Out
some
of
time
my
to respond and things like that. But he
hands,
was just kind of
buddy.
like,
There's nothing
not
I
that,
can
yes.
do at
I think
this
it's what
point.
a lot of people do is like they have this image of a debate bro in their head, and they think they just need to come in and
absolutely
behave like
out
a
of my hands.
toddler
I
because they think
wish.
they're matching like.
I wish
what's
there
happened
was
to them,
something
but,
I could
bro,
do,
I don't think people can really.
but I
do
can't.
this. But it's funny to see how people.
I haven't
like,
been on
struggle
Blue
with
Sky.
live
honestly.
scrutiny. Did he actually deny how the Beavis children died? Yes, he lied. Yeah, he said. Well, yeah, he said that he doesn't believe that they were strangled. Beavis children.
I mean, there's actually quite a bit of news to talk about, which I take note of is the Bibas family.
Casper's
I'm not sure I
here!
like
My
that.
voice
I'm not
cracked.
sure I do.
That was
I think the,
embarrassing.
I think the
That's a
missing body thing is indicative
made
of
my
the
voice
mess
crack,
that's in Britain.
Casper.
And the fact that there are so many just random bodies lying around Gaza, and it's littered with mangled human
It
remains.
does,
And many
except
people
it's
very
like
clever,
super
and the passionate
unhinged.
sort of, mixes.
Mika!
It's horrible to the family. But this is
You've
the part
been
I want to talk about.
summoned,
So,
Anthrax. Let me introduce you to the real star of my stream, Mika. She's out cold. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. You've been summoned. Come here, babes. Come and say hi to everybody. Come on. Mika. I know. You're a little discombobulated. Come here. Come here, babes. Come here. Come here. Hi. Say hello. Mwah. So this is Mika. She's my baby. She just turned 3 last month. And she's fucking amazing. You're awesome. She's very sleepy right now. And then, yeah, our chat points. She gets to come on camera, say hello to people. Mika, can we get a bark? Can we get a hello out of you? Look at me. Look at me. You ready? Oh, I don't think she's gonna want to say hi, but let's give it a shot. Ready? Say hello. No, she ain't feeling it. Can you say hello? Can you say hi? Nah, she's sleepy. She was napping. She was napping. That's my girl. That's my girl. You know, I love you. Yes, I do. Yeah? You want to go back to your nap? You want to go back to your nap? Go ahead. Go ahead, babes. Go ahead. She's like, no, this is my chair now. Oh, did you guys see that? Dude, could you all see that? Did you see the little nudge she gave on my hand? Were y'all able to see that? That was so cute. That was so cute. You're so cute. All right, go ahead. She did it again. How am I supposed to tell her to go? She's being so sweet. Why are you being so sweet? Why are you being so sweet right now? All right, go on. Go on. Get out of here. Go ahead. Go ahead. Mika. Mika, go ahead. I gotta sit back down. I gotta sit back down. You'll come back later. Don't worry. I know it's not, this is not, you know, you're going to get summoned multiple times every stream. You know this. Go ahead. Go ahead, baby. That's what chat points are for. Nope. No. Don't go down that way. Go ahead. Go ahead. You make this difficult for me. Oh, Robotnik glasses coming up. All right, Mika, you gotta go. I gotta put on the Robotnik glasses. Go. Nuh-uh. Go. Go ahead. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead. You got it. Don't sit that down, you goofball. There you go. All right. Robotnik glasses coming on. Oh, for Mika? You want Mika to put on the Robotnik glasses? We could do that. Mika, you've been summoned back again. It's going to take forever to get you out of this chair this time, but you're coming back. You got to put the glasses on. Come here. Come on. Come on. By the way, you see all the fucking Mika hair on here? Okay, come here. Ready? You ready, babes? Look over here. Okay, you ready? That's my girl. That's my girl. So good. So good. Good girl. Look over here. Here, let me turn you a little bit. Oh, there they go. Yeah, it's hard to keep those on, isn't it? All right, you ready? There we go. Now everybody can see you. Everybody can see you nice and clear. That's a good girl. Give me your paw. Give me your paw. Good paw. That's a good paw. On geopolitics. So, one thing you'll learn, Mika is actually a staunch Trump voter. She is fiercely pro-Israel. She's like Greater Israel. She's like Eretz Yisrael, right? So that's kind of where she is. Like if you say ethnic cleansing of Gaza, she says fuck yeah. So she can be a little spicy. She can be a little spicy with that one. Yeah? Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Go ahead, babes. Now you can go. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead. Go ahead. Cruising down the stream on my 64. Found the Parker clip. Seems to have he had it coming to him undertone to me. All right, let me take a look. Let's take a look. Come here, Mika. Oh no, TikTok. Ugh. I feel like TikTok never lets me listen because I don't sign in. Let me try it in Brave.
Do I think Luigi's guilty? I actually think that there's a good argument to be made that he's not. Is that crazy? I think one could.
Okay, you need to
argue that
clarify
he's
what you're
innocent.
saying there, Dean. What you're saying there is that you don't know if he's the one who shot Brian Thompson. Is what you're questioning?
Jesus, Dean is fucking jacked, bro. Holy shit! I had no idea.
I think that it's. I think
mean,
there's a
all
fair
of the
shot that
evidence
he'll
was
get off
on
innocent.
him. All of the
No, bro.
evidence was on him, bro.
But you haven't seen the side-to-side pictures, right, of like the shooter in the Starbucks and the shooter in the back of the taxi compared to Luigi, right? There's a very obvious distinction in the eyebrows.
I
Oh my
won't
God.
dispute that. Like, there could be small differences that you might see, but like, can you explain why he had all of the? Are you saying it was planted?
Well, and I think that could be granted some evidence. There's some evidence that could be granted to that hypothesis. Because didn't he leave the backpack full of Monopoly money in Central Park, but then somehow he had that same backpack on in Pennsylvania?
I think that would probably be different backpack.
The fucking glee on his face is kind of annoying right now, bro. Like, why are you like grinning about this? Somebody was fucking murdered.
I'm not quite sure though.
And it's like, why would he have like like the gun, the fake ID. Why would he have all these things just like with like a manifesto with him in Pennsylvania? Like I feel like if he wrote a manifesto about it,
I feel like none of these dudes are recognizing. Every time he commits a microaggression, he does a push-up. True. Do these guys not remember what he fucking said when he was being taken into the courthouse or whatever from the police car? Don't y'all remember that? Like, he shouted, what was it that he said? Casper is here. We're always so happy. We're so happy. This is completely out of touch, and it's an insult to the American people. Completely out of touch. Now, why the fuck would he be saying that?
Also, by the way, you can get rid of one
guilty?
backpack and then get the other. You just take the contents out of one backpack and you put it into another one.
I guess like my question would be, why would he write a manifesto and have that with him and then plead like not guilty?
Why would he plead not guilty after? Well, I mean, I think the way that you plead not guilty. Well, I mean, if you were smart in that circumstance, you would utilize the fact that you have broad public support, right, to sort of argue down at least, so that like it's based on like what the jury says rather than what like people who are in authority positions are saying. Because you're trying to really pull like a class divide in order to be able to like reduce your sentencing, and you want to base that upon like what a jury says rather than what the judge would say.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that I guess what I would more so say is that I think Luigi getting off right as not guilty is pretty possible. I think that it's pretty possible that
I wouldn't bet on it, bro.
But actually, Parker, do you think that if Luigi's guilty, that he should go to jail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's guilty, he should go to jail. All right. So far, Parker's okay.
I guess so. Me too. But like,
yeah, he looks so sad. He's like, oh, I guess so.
It's cool to see.
But like, I also believe that like, you know, the people who are doing all this shit with like the healthcare, right, should be put in prison as well.
That's fine if you think they should be put in prison. That's a little stupid, but that's not the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I really like to see like
that leads to people dying. 40 to 60. I need to just say this: 40 to 68,000 Americans die every single year due to lack of health insurance. Just that in of itself, that is a
and that's shitty, right? But out of 350 million people, like it should be zero, right? But out of 350 million people, like that's not, or 380 million people maybe now, like that's an okay percentage. It still should be zero. He's being choosy with his words because he knows it's not socially acceptable to say something like, he's just better than Dean at hiding his disdain. Maybe. He seemed to be pretty sure on like, yeah, he should go to jail. He was on film killing him no matter how much public support he might have. He's guilty. The thing is, they're trying to say that like, oh, the face, you can't tell, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
Fucking moral atrocity. The fact that happens every single year in this country.
Mm-hmm. And like, I just love to see, I guess, like the positive conversations that have been generated, right, in our country.
Yeah, it could. It depends on it kind of depends on how the case goes, right? Like if you're claiming not guilty and then maybe you try to go for like a plea bargain, that might be their strategy. I don't know. We'll see. Look at polling for left-leaning people in their 20s. Yeah, because they're kids and they're angry and their hormones haven't calmed down yet.
Right, about issues with the healthcare system, and I could understand how like a lot of people can confuse the positive outcomes of those conversations with the action of literally like killing Brian as positive, but like of course I reject that conclusion. But like, you know, it's definitely like interesting. It's just very interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, social media has like rotted the brains of so many people. They're getting propagandized to. They're having their emotions played on, and it doesn't help that you have like the rabid MAGAs, who it's like, oh my god, these people are fucking crazy, so I have to go completely in the other direction. There's like a whole lot of shit contributing to it. When I was their age, around 10 years ago, definitely a dumbass never would have cheered something like this. Yeah, me too. Me too. Same. About 10 years ago. And around then, I was like a lot more leftist than I am now, right? Like I was like a Bernie guy. I was supporting Bernie back then, right? Shit, my dad was a delegate for Bernie at the DNC. So like, yeah, I was a Bernie bro, 100%. I still like Bernie. I disagree with him on certain things now a little bit more than I did then, but I still think he's a good guy. But like, yeah, I just, I grew up a bit. My views on things. A Bernie or bust bro to be precise. No, I absolutely voted for Hillary Clinton, and I was proud to vote for Hillary Clinton, and I hope she had won because she actually probably would have been a pretty good president. It's kind of shitty that she didn't, but, it is what it is. I remember when she was Secretary of State thinking, like, yeah, Hillary Clinton would be a good president. I remember even back before the Obama one thinking Hillary could be a potential president, like good presidential candidate, and looking forward to when she would make a good run for it. Stakes were lower. Okay, fair enough. 31 now, and I did notice how I went from hardcore left to a little more center. I still like Bernie, though, not gonna lie. I like him. I do like Bernie. Like, I don't dislike Bernie at all. I think he's a good guy. I think he wants the best for the country, and I agree with him on plenty of things. I mean, like, I'm more towards the center, but like I would probably describe myself as like a liberal, right? Or like a social democrat, to be more specific, right? I believe in like smart regulation, not over regulation. I believe in strong safety nets, right? That kind of stuff. So that's also true, Neighbor Rooney. There's certain things economically that I'm more towards the center on, right? But like I said, I say smart regulation, not over regulation, which I think is a more center left point of view, right? Strong safety nets in literally every country but the United States is like something that everybody believes in. It's crazy. I don't know if I even consider that like a left-leaning thing. Because like if you go to any other country, like a strong safety net is across the spectrum. So like, I have a buddy from Sweden who comes on stream a lot, right? He's a Swedish conservative. And we've talked about like how they view their social programs. And, he's like, well, we see it as like a public good and a public necessity. It's not like a right or left thing. It's like a duty of us to provide for the citizens of our country. So that's how I see that. As for social stuff, my general thing is let people fucking live however they want. Stop fucking bugging people, right? Allow people to make their own choices. I'm socially liberal as well, right? That includes abortion, obviously. In some ways, I'm like, you could say I'm like socially libertarian, even in some ways, right? Yeah, I don't know. Like, let people live their fucking lives. Liberty, freedom. This is America. Don't tell me what to do. You're not my mom. That is a cold, cold take, Cosmic. That is a cold, cold take. Let me blow that mind even further. Imagine, guys, just imagine the world if the Supreme Court hadn't stopped the Florida count in 2000. Imagine the world. Well, assuming it would have mattered. Assuming Al Gore would have won. Let's assume that he won. Think of the great environmental policy we would have had. We would have been like super green energy by now. We would have been energy independent as a result in a lot of ways. We probably have health care. Al Gore knew what he wanted, though. Al Gore had some really, really forward-thinking policy ideas.
Murdered Kafir and Ariel Bibas with bare hands took horrific actions to cover up crimes. I'm not sure I quite believe that. And I don't
I mean, compared to now, yeah, neighbor Rooney.
think it's wrong to say that I don't believe that, to be honest.
Okay,
Because
why not?
I was thinking about should I have posted my TikTok, to be honest. Like, should I have posted it? Because it's like, oh, well, you know. And then I just realised Israel's lies are just never ending. And I said this in my TikTok. There's no reason to believe what Israel says because it just categorically just does not tell the truth.
Just the entire country again. Imagine if anyone did this with the health ministry, for example. Like, oh, it's just Hamas. Nothing they say is true. Nothing. Imagine that. I love how we can have nuance for like, oh yeah, Hamas will lie about a lot of things. The media office will lie. They've got propagandists who lie. Maybe this guy doesn't actually believe that they lie, even though they do habitually. But an Israeli head of fucking forensic pathology, the Forensic Institute, they're not. That's just all of Israel, liars.
So I think Israel is just doing this to justify the genocide. Army recovered their bodies and returned them to Israel the following month. Initially, the army told the hostages' families that the 3 men had been murdered by Hamas. Later, however, they said that Sherman Weitzer and Toledano, whose bodies were found intact and bore no gunshot wounds, had died from carbon monoxide poisoning caused by Israeli bombing. There's the key point that I have to make here.
So the IDF might not get the cause of death because that's not their job, so they might get it wrong. But then the forensics later found out that it was a different.
Of Man Bear Pig
Israel
fame,
has lied about
indeed.
people. Israel has definitively claimed
And you
to-
remember they ended up doing that new episode later on. They were like, Man Bear Pig does exist. It was true all along.
not true specifically in relation.
Wait, how did they know it was different? Who corrected them? Was it Israel, perhaps? Oh my god.
The killing of hostages. This combined with this, and I'm not a forensic analyst, so this may not be 100% correct, and I cannot affirm that, but I can say that it doesn't seem like this would be an insane thing to say, or that it would make absolutely no sense. I feel like when you hear about, I remember a while ago, some guy died near where I lived, like no one knows who he was or who he is. He just sort of died in a clearing and was left there for a really long time, and they found him a long time later, and they were never able to ascertain who he was. And so I feel like if you combine all of these things, is it 100% likely that this happened? Now there's also a factor which I discussed with some people. Why would it make sense to kill these people? Why would it make sense to kill them? Hamas isn't stupid. You're right. Hamas isn't stupid.
It wasn't Hamas, it was Mujahideen brigades that had them. For one. For two, I don't know, maybe they determined, it's not like they're a fucking professional army, okay? They don't get fucking blowback for committing war crimes, okay? The IDF barely does, but some people will be dismissed or reprimanded or fired or jailed, like it happens to some of them. It doesn't happen for any of them in Hamas. Not for committing crimes against Israelis anyway. Obviously, if you do something like if you're caught doing it with a dude,
Herman
they might fuck you
Cain.
up, as they did with Sinwar, for example. Okay,
The
but that was
COVID
Mujahideen
guy.
brigades, that wasn't Hamas who had the bodies. Maybe they just thought it wasn't worth like taking care of a fucking toddler, like a baby, in the middle of a war. Like they would be too heavy, too much baggage. Maybe they decided that, I don't know. But the evidence seems to be that they did it, unless you believe Hamas's like claim, which is not apparently from forensics. They just said that just came from like one of their spokespersons.
Stupid, so why would they kill the three most important hostages, arguably? The Bibas family. Figures who they could have exploited over and over again for propaganda. If there was any reason to kill them, they would have done it prior to October the 7th. There are videos of them with their captors, where their captors are like, oh, we're
Prior to October the 7th? Okay, misspeak.
not going to treat you poorly. And this, by the way, of course, anytime you talk about people, like, oh, you just
No, Sinwar wasn't banging a dude. He wasn't banging a dude. He killed people for banging dudes. There was a top Hamas commander who got accused of being a collaborator and tortured and murdered because he was gay.
find this, because it's the same with anything about person. You justify October the 7th, you justify this, you justify that. It's not a case of justification, it is explaining and exploring what might have happened. It is doing an analysis of, oh, well, this may
Oh,
be
so it's fine to explain and explore what happened. Interesting.
what happened to them, and this is why I think Israel is on balance lying about this. And I think historically Israel shows a consistent pattern of lying in order to gain and to justify ethnic cleansing and murder and such and all of these things. And so I just don't see how this story really adds.
I got you, neighbor Rooney. This entire campaign was new because one lady lied about being sexually assaulted by him. Yeah, and then he fucking died because he attended a Trump rally.
adds up. And I think that the detail that they did it with their bare hands and strangled them is particularly interesting, and I think is indicative of what Israel wants to do with.
Okay, so no argument. No argument outside of. Let's make some notes for these two things. Why not? No argument outside of an unsourced screenshot saying it's difficult to analyze cause of death.
See you later, Anthrax. Thanks for coming, and thanks so much for subbing, buddy. I hope to see you more often. I am on every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, same time. Come on back.
Explaining.
So glad you came,
or trying
buddy.
to understand
So
what
glad you had
happened
fun.
is not justifying, because I can just turn that back on him for every accusation he makes against me. What else was I going to say there? Didn't even, again, it's more like a just asking questions thing. Didn't even bother to look into who had them. It wasn't Hamas. It was the Mujahideen brigades. Okay. Which betrays a pretty pathetic lack of curiosity for something that you are so quick to make a conclusion on, but okay. Out of interest. What's the bone that can get fucked up? Hyoid bone. That's the one. I think if you're strangled to death, it would be this. That would be.
I'll tell you the bone.
That's the hyoid bone.
Countdown to 100.
Fractures
We
of the
got
hyoid
10
bone are known
more
to occur in
followers
17 to
to go
71% of fatalities
to
following
100.
manual strangulation.
We are now at 5
Frequently recognized
recurring
survivors.
subs.
Oh, that's not hard at all then.
10 is our target. 10 recurring subs is the target we need for verification, and 50 average viewers a day. So we got to pump up those average viewers. That's where we got to go for it. But we're on our way for the subs. We are definitely on our way for followers. Got to pump up the views, and 100 chatters in the last 30 days. So yeah, we're working our way up. Oh, that's too bad, Anthrax. Well, hopefully you can still stick around. You know, whenever you can come through, we'll always be happy to see you. Imagine your whole campaign gone because that now you can just grab my pussy and you're chilling. Yeah. Yikes. That's a yikes. Yikes moment.
Because a bone can survive. We're not talking about flesh here. Were they thinking that there would just have to be strangle marks on the neck? And this is for older people. This is for adults, not for
True,
babies, obviously, where
Cosmic.
it's a lot more delicate. Okay, strangulation. More likely in fatalities.
Too
Why is it
true.
17 to 71%? Fuck! Oh, write down that killing babies is easy. Yeah, okay. At the end of the day, does it matter? A baby hostage is mega illegal? No, actually, it does matter because it shows how much of a fucking partisan demon you are. Because the standard of evidence that was applied was Chen Kugel, who was the head of the Israeli Forensic Institute, was the one who said that this was the cause of death. It was the head of Israeli forensics. So forensic analysis was done. And people always say, oh, where are the forensics for the rapes? The other side said, oh, Hamas said that it was a bombing. I'm sorry, if you trust the health ministry, but not the head of forensics in Israel, it's probably because you're a terrorist, okay? Like, I don't know what to say. You're allowed to trust the health ministry. Like, they're generally reliable. But if you're going to do that, and you don't trust the fucking Israeli forensics, yeah, you're probably, like, the head of forensics, Hen Hugel. Yeah, you're probably just a terrorist, if those are your instincts. Because he thinks Hen Kugel made a claim about beheaded babies, even though if you look at the way that he's talking about that, he's never actually quoted directly saying that he saw beheaded babies. It's like there's like a thing where people are asking him questions and talking about babies, but like the conversation is about children and babies like intertwined, and obviously going between Hebrew and English. Like it sounds like he's saying babies, but if you look at him specified, the youngest death that he specifies about for beheading is an 8-year-old, 8 or 10. He doesn't say anything specific about like any particular beheaded baby. So people have tried to do that a lot though. They've tried to debunk a lot of Hen Kugel's things, but none of them really stick.
All right. Let's watch this fucking Hassan Bad Empanada shit. Yep, we gotta do it. We gotta do it. At least for a little bit. We gotta fucking watch this fucking retard shit.
I bet you thought
It's content. It's content, Cosmic. Oh, this fucking retard as well. Dude, I hate Noah Samson so much. All three of these motherfuckers suck ass. All of the ass. So much ass.
I went on the go after Ethan Klein, Hassan. I don't have the beard. It doesn't work anymore.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
By the way, yeah.
Oh, I can hear you as well. Perfect.
Hell yeah. What up, dude?
Okay, perfect. All right. Wait, I can't see you, Noah. Is that normal?
Oh no. I'll turn
He's the
my
moderator.
It's gonna be webcam. Yeah, I'm like the moderator.
Okay.
I guess I'm the debate.
Oh,
This is the
me
clash
neither,
of. This is
Cosmic.
Hassan Piker, I bet you thought that you were safe. Ethan called you out for not for being scared of me. You know, Ethan.
You
was
gotta
like,
watch
why don't
these
you debate that
retards
empanada?
sometimes.
I can't believe I'm in the presence of such a monstrous tanky who wants the America empire to end. This
They're gonna
violent
ask you this one at
tanky.
TSA. They're gonna ask
He
you about
sounds
this
so
one
like, oh, you're
this dangerous
so
man.
great.
I just came in here to talk to you about the dangers of platforming people with bad empanadas opinions. I think in order to balance it out, you need to have just straight Hitlerian Israel defenders on. I think that's true liberalism. That would be progress, I think.
Like one side, one on each side.
Hitlerian Israel
Devil
defenders.
Well,
I'm here
What
as a
piece
defender of the
shit.
Democratic Party, specifically
We know.
Bernie SS Sanders.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm here to defend the Democratic Party's position because I think that they're working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire, and I think people like Bad Empanada don't understand or appreciate that Kamala Harris would have been different in the way she dealt with Israel.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, she would have invaded. A coalition of the willing would have been put together, and she would have invaded Tel Aviv by now. That's what I think.
I mean,
Concur?
yeah, that's
Empanada?
precisely what I think you believe.
What I
So
think
next
you
time you meet Bernie
believe.
Sanders, are you gonna yell at him?
No, I'm not going to yell at him because I'm not a freak, and I'm not going to yell at.
So
I'm not going to here. If you want to have an honest conversation, a serious conversation, I had an entry point into that conversation with Bernie and AOC as well, but unfortunately they were literally late to their rally to begin with, so we didn't get to talk thoroughly about it.
Good.
And I don't even know
They
if they'll give
shouldn't
me another
give you
interview at this
any of
point
their
because
time, dog.
I have been very critical of their position on Israel, and I've been talking to other people in their like other people like Faz and numerous others behind the scenes to try to get them to engage in direct action. Aside from the rallies that they're organizing, because I thought that it would be beneficial both politically and also beneficial for
This is gonna be rough.
bringing about humanity to the politics that they represent.
This is gonna be
But
rough.
it would be
Why
politically
does he
beneficial
look
for them
like he's wearing fucking cat ears? What the fuck is that?
to organize a protest or a rally or do something around the unjustifiable detention of Mahmoud Khalil. And that was actually in that 9-minute conversation that we had. That was my entry point into it. Like I was going to talk to him about this on First Amendment grounds and
is he actually
basically get a better assessment, better understanding.
Bro, these dudes are so fucking soy, bro. So fucking soy. Like they drink soy sauce. What is going
Of what his
on?
position is, and to maybe even talk to him further about like why he calls it, why he consistently brings about the issue of Israel, but like only focuses on Benjamin Netanyahu, or why he doesn't call it a genocide. Because these are, I think, valid questions to ask someone like Bernie Sanders. Especially because my expectation
Because
of
it's
someone like
not
Bernie Sanders
one dingus.
is that he's supposed to be infinitely more knowledgeable on the situation than
Imagine
like, the average
that.
Democratic Party politician is supposed to be, given his long history of being an out and about socialist, and even sometimes like offering critical support to, with some notable exceptions like Yugoslavia, offering critical support to even revolutionary socialists or even like anti-imperialist militancy throughout his career. I want to like my expectation from him is someone who has been definitely more, dare I say, radical, even though that doesn't really mean anything in American politics. My expectation from him at this point would be to be leading the charge of stopping all aid to Israel and issuing boycotts and divestments and threatening sanctions upon Israel. But he's nowhere near there, and I think that's very disappointing as someone who is a big fan of Bernie Sanders, despite my differences in opinion with Bernie Sanders.
Well, I think, as you said very well once, that Zionists should not even be allowed to be the local dog catcher. And Bernie Sanders well eclipses the point of being a Zionist by any reasonable standard, even your standard, I'm
So
sure.
gross.
AOC, I'm not exactly sure. She seems to be a lot better than him, but
Yeah, I agree.
they are absolutely grooming her to be something that she probably didn't want to be initially, and it's working, so that's kind of sad. Sanders in like 2016, he did seem to be something that was genuinely inconvenient for the party, but they have well and truly tamed him at this point, and I think it's been that way for a while. I think even in 2020 it was already kind of like that, even though he did still run for the
I'm getting
nomination, he fell into line very quickly
microaggressive.
afterwards.
Oh no.
I don't think he's. I think you're mistaking a lot of like Bernie's like genuine convictions
get
and how wrong he
canceled.
is with him being a machine politician. Like I
mean, he can be wrong and still help the machine in the end.
Yeah, no,
Like,
he
can be
did.
far from
He
it.
absolutely did. But I also think that Bernie Sanders is just he has this like old labor Zionist framework, I think, that is just utterly ridiculous, and that is something that he hasn't been able to shake away. But given what he has done in terms of offering support, in terms of being unafraid to endorse
So
certain
fucking
viewpoints,
brain dead, dude.
both on the activist
So
front, but
brain
also
dead.
on his also in terms of the people that he endorses. It almost feels like there's a sense of shame coming from him with regards to that contradiction that he recognizes to a certain degree. Maybe it's a little too parasocial, but I mean, I guess we are making analysis about politicians.
Oh my
so I guess-
god, dude! Look at the fucking caption for this on Bad Empanada's channel. You gotta be fucking kidding me. This dude is so disgusting. He's so disgusting. What the fuck? What the fuck? On the Kiko
That's
man.
not all that parasocial, but like he's the type of person who has these opinions, but also won't get in the way of more radical perspectives. Like he's not. I don't think he uses any amount of time in the finite amount of time that he has in mainstream political discourse.
True,
he doesn't use
Cosmic.
any moment of that
I
to
guess
criticize like
that's
Hamas or
something,
Hamas
right?
defenders or anything like that, and instead focuses mostly on Israel, even if his focus on Israel is not even as radical as, of course, or not even as honest. Let's not even say radical. Not even as honest as Rashida Tlaib's analysis of the situation, or Ilhan Omar's analysis of the situation, or even, and I can't believe I'm saying this, AOC's analysis of the situation, who called it a genocide far before Bernie Sanders did. And if I'm not mistaken, he still has yet to call it a genocide.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Yeah,
but-
because Rashida Tlaib.
I mean, I
is,
think you're very, very
like,
generous to him.
for
I think people
obvious
are very
reasons
generous
is
to
calling
American
it a
politicians
genocide.
who specifically get into
What, are you
like a position of
stupid?
power, as Sanders has.
Some kind of stupid guy.
Like as soon as they
huh?
become like an elected official, like the standards for them just go through the floor. Like you expect almost nothing from them, and it's excuse after excuse after excuse. I think Americans. I think I've heard you say this before. I mean, I might be incorrect. I might just be misremembering, but Americans love to say, like love to frame themselves as being like in like an exceptional situation that someone like me simply cannot understand, and therefore our politicians need to be more shit. I don't think it's that politicians.
That's a misunderstanding of my analysis. My job is a communicator, as is your job, right? We're trying to make a convincing argument to get people to understand our worldview. And by the way, I don't think you and I, the reason why I always will maintain the position that your video essays are brilliant, regardless of your methods or the way you present yourself online, is because I understand that you and I are on this issue and on virtually every other issue on the same side. But as a communicator, especially as a communicator that is in the United States of America, I understand the utter moral depravity of the average American, and I understand their lack of interest in these subjects. So, in order to make a more convincing argument, I always try to
The
message
moral depravity
to the
of
room
the
that I'm speaking
average
to, if that makes
American.
sense. And I think a part of that is also to rate politicians on a
Get
to
your
rate
head
politicians on
out
a
of your
curve
fucking
as well. This isn't to say
ass,
that they're like
dude.
doing fantastic or to defend them. But there are, as you've also presented yourself, like there are certain instances where they engage in defensible actions. Like the nuance that exists between AOC and Bernie Sanders is one that you recognize as well. But if you were to ask the average person that is like against both of these people, like people that look at it and say, well, these are both politicians that exist within a bourgeois capitalist duopoly framework, they're not doing what is necessary in this situation. I apply that nuance across the board. I apply that charitability and nuance across the board to all politicians that I talk to, or all politicians that I analyze in general. Like Chris Van Hollen is a great example of this, right? He's a regular run-of-the-mill Democrat. Do I think he's a good dude? Do I think he's going to bring about like a proletarian revolution? Fuck no. But and within the confines of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's return, or at least like kickstarting the conversation,
Yeah, we're not
going to
watch the whole thing
the
today. It's
immigrant
3
detention
hours
structure that we
long.
have
We're gonna watch some of
in the
it.
United States of America. I think what Senator Chris Van Hollen did, which was to fly to El Salvador and directly demand proof of life for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was incredibly important. Because it drove the media cycle. It led to more Americans finding out about this unjustifiable detention strategy that the administration is offering. So I guess basically what I'm saying is I understand the moral depravity of the average American and adjust my commentary appropriately to that, just like I understand the lack of interest from the average American politician in addressing any of those issues, and I grade them on a curve.
Okay, but the problem is...
People, by the way, are saying, no, you got to restart stream because you're at 12 hours, sorry.
Does it cut the end off or the start?
I don't know.
Because if it cuts the start off, which I'm pretty sure it does, this is fine. Restarting the stream will fuck it up a little bit. Maybe not.
I don't know. Everyone is just saying restart. But you're the streamer. I've never streamed on YouTube, so I don't know. I don't know how it works on YouTube.
Fixing the audio to
That streams 12 hours.
Yeah, I've been streaming for like 24. Yeah, you do this 12 hours a day. What the fuck, man?
I do it on Twitch. So Twitch
Now
doesn't
look
have
like
that.
you wanted to die within like a quarter of Hassan Piker stream length.
To be fair,
That was yesterday.
I ate hot chips. But
You're just so white. I mean, I am too, but...
I said it cuts
I
the
eat
end
hot
off.
chips.
it cuts the end. Okay, then I'm gonna restart.
Well, I don't
this. Give me 1 minute. Love people.
Yeah, you're live again.
We just all agreed to support each other and agree with everything that each of us say always, and we're best friends and we're moving in together and we're roommates.
Yeah. I'm going to the Argentinian prison that you guys are streaming out of.
Jail.
You should just leave the U.S., by the way. I don't know why you don't just do that. I mean, I'm sure you have like 100 friends you all love there.
Yeah, he's
but
like,
you just leave the
fucking
US. It makes
leave,
everything way
okay?
easier. You can't get sued by Ethan Klein, for example.
Go to Israel.
No, I was just talking about this earlier because there was like a prominent liberal
Yeah,
academics
go to
who
fucking Israel.
study
Better
fascism
yet,
are
go
leaving
to
the United
fucking
States and here's why.
Gaza,
There was like a New York
dog.
Times article on it. But
Put
it's
your
like,
money
I'm
where
stubborn.
your
I'm a
fucking
very stubborn
mouth
person,
is,
and I feel
bro.
like I'd rather stick it out.
Don't be a pussy.
And see where it goes, rather than to leave the United States of America.
Well, I used to think that the U.S. actually was probably the best place to be because it's one of the few countries where you basically can't get arrested purely for speech unless you're like threatening someone. But now,
he
no, obviously not.
besmirches my
Yeah, no.
country.
Now it's resembling more and more Israel every day. It's wonderful. My favorite country, the most moral nation. Am Israel high.
Yeah, so I hear
Fuck
you're
yeah.
and I hear
Yeah.
You better say it again,
So when
bitch.
both
going
of
back
them
to what we
in
were talking about. Going back to what
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
talking
go
about.
back,
The point I was
You said
trying
a
to
whole
make
thing.
is
I
that,
never got the chance to respond.
yeah, exactly.
Otherwise
Like with
it's
Chris
great.
Van Hollen, do you understand my perspective or like the framework that I operate off of? Like
You're
where
saying
I'm
that one individual thing they did was a good thing, basically.
yeah. I don't shy away from politicians unless they're like insane. You know what I mean? Unless they're unless like Marjorie Taylor Greene, I guess, and I'm gonna look like a fucking clown ass. I don't shy away from giving credit to politicians and offering positive reinforcement to politicians when I feel like they're doing something that I think is appropriate, like moving the needle in the direction, because it's the same framework that I operate with within the Democratic Party, where like these are the available platforms of influence, and I will always go there because as long as our interests align, I have no issue going to those platforms, because at the end of the day, they are giving more legitimacy to myself than vice versa, in my opinion.
I mean, giving you legitimacy, like what's the point of that, really? What is the point of them giving you legitimacy if in the end you do kind of demonstrate support for them in many cases? That's the thing. I think people see you very much as a Bernie Sanders guy, even though that is sort of contradicted by what you said earlier. Maybe it's erroneous, but people very much see you as like a big Bernie Sanders supporter. I wouldn't say I see you as like a big Bernie Sanders supporter. I think I see you more as someone who maybe doesn't like what he says, but is a little iffy on making that clearer, which I think you sort of did just a second ago. I think you preempted everything I said about you and you were ready with that. It's cheating.
No,
in
I
the debate,
actually
by the
have
way.
talked about this quite a bit, even before and after your statements, as a matter of fact. But you know how it is with clips. You probably
With a
don't get that
chainsaw.
from.
I mean, I do watch
Doing
what
the
you say
chainsaw
sometimes.
thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't click. I don't go to any place that posts like a clip saying, I don't think that such a place would even exist. Like Hassan Piker says positive thing about Bernie Sanders. Here's a 20-second clip of it. I don't know. What
I know.
place would that be?
But I talk for 8 hours a day. It's very hard for you to in any, like, unless you're watching 8 hours a day, you're probably not going to see the exact same thing that I told you just now. I've spoken about probably 25 to 35 times whenever some chatter comes in and annoys me, and then I go on a fucking long and convoluted rant about.
You should stop reading your chat, by the way.
Yeah, that's part of the puzzle. That's part of how I do this this back and forth. But
I like
it's
just
difficult
right
for people to
now,
grab.
real quick.
What's up?
Like Vanna Banana, you made like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 videos talking about the AOC Bernie interview, and then I don't know how much you watch of Hassan talking about it, but like just talking to each other now, clearing that up. You feel like that clears up anything now that you see that he's kind of
no, not really, because I think a lot of that, like there was the initial reaction of the interview, and there was like responses to people who want Hassan, responses to people like who want Hassan but were defending sort of like the whole idea of like engaging with the mainstream Democratic Party and like sort of trying to pull people to your side from them and stuff like that. And yeah, that was basically the whole thing there. It wasn't so much like I said something, Hassan said something, and I responded. It was more like that. What I would say is that Americans are way too optimistic with their former politicians. And if there is something that you should preach, it's that these people are ultimately fucking useless, and you're gonna have to do shit yourself.
Yeah,
So what does that look like?
here's the thing. I
Heard of
I
Mario's
understand.
brother?
What?
Sorry, go ahead, Hassan.
No, I understand that like the modern Democratic Party is entirely useless. The Democratic Party is well, it's not entirely useless. They can be put to good use on select issues or across the board. Maybe one day it could, in a totally idealistic world, they could be a functional working labor party. Obviously, we're not there, and we might never get there. And I don't disagree with that. But this is, I just wanted to offer clarity on the framework that I operate off of, because I think that you and I both will recognize that Americans don't have a semblance of class consciousness. And I feel like at this stage, the most important thing you can do is to pull people back from reactionary discourse, pull people back from reactionary ideals. And the best possible way to do that is by constantly reasserting the position over and over again that the Democratic Party has to have a class first politics, and also that, you know, these people that have been targeted as like vulnerable populations, marginalized identities that are presented as your enemy are not actually your enemy at all. It's simply a red herring, a distraction that the reactionary forces uses, and the Democrats are wholly incompetent at dealing with because they don't have this class first politic.
Okay, first thing here is that the whole reason why you have this idea that you have to like, you're sort of stuck into working with the Democratic Party, it's not your fault, obviously, because you aren't every single person in the fucking United States of America, but this is sort of like a self-perpetuating circular logic, and I mean, I'm not blaming you for having, every American has it. It's like, we have to work within the Democratic Party because it's the only thing that's there, and then you do not do anything, or you don't build an alternative to that, and you just keep reinforcing the initial premise over and over again. So Americans are stuck in this sort of rut where it seems like it's completely unrealistic to ever challenge the two-party system, so they don't try, and that's just sort of a self-perpetuating cycle. Because doing something like that takes a long time, takes a lot of effort.
I used to read the Buenos Aires Times at breakfast every morning. And Macri, by the way, is the uncle of one of my schoolmates from high school.
This whole Democratic Party outcry, people like Bernie Sanders as well very much reinforce this, even if perhaps at some point he didn't mean to. Perhaps at some point he was really genuinely trying to challenge the status quo, and he only joined the Democratic Party because he thought he had to win the primaries. It was the only possible way. You know, as an independent, he had no chance. He probably didn't in that moment. But then there's also the fact that that logic
gets you into this rut where you never ever try to do anything else. And there are many other countries where that had very strong two-party systems that in some cases lasted for like hundreds of years. The two-party system in the USA is younger than in some of those countries that broke it. And they very slowly worked from the ground up, like starting with local politics, building up to like the state level, building up to like the national level, building alternative structures, using the political capital they got from that, not like immediately running for president, nothing else like the fucking Green Party or something. What a fucking joke that is. Like they do nothing to run for the main office. But what I mean is like, you have to start small. You have to build up from that until you can eventually challenge on the main stage. Now, the issue of this logic from me now is that it's too late. Honestly, I'm not sure that we have time for this sort of thing before the consequences of climate change basically take over the agenda entirely, and whatever political system we're trying to get into in this way just totally breaks down. So, I mean, I guess people should still do it, but what I'm trying to say is Americans have like this circular logic, and it very much serves the Democratic Party as well. It is so good for them, and I think that by sort of working with people like Bernie Sanders, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, irrespective of who they are, as individuals, of whether they are genuine or not genuine, and whether they are great people or not, whether they truly believe in some of the shit stuff that they perhaps forced into advocating for just to stay in line with the Democratic Party, all of that doesn't really matter, because ultimately what they do is they serve this purpose where they give people this idea that you have your voice in the party. You have your voice here in the party already. AOC is there for you. Bernie is there for you. They're already fighting for you. You don't have to do that much yourself. Maybe you can go to the protest yourself. Maybe you can do something like that. But by golly, you did not try to make your own party. You don't try to do something independently. You don't try to like build an apparatus entirely independent of the party, not like the DSA, but entirely independent of it, where you actually build it into something that can meaningfully threaten them and the two-party system, and thus meaningfully start putting pressure on your governments to actually really do something internationally as well. And Americans have really failed at that more so than any people in the world, which is, I think, like people say like the US is the belly of the beast, it's hard to do this. I don't think that's true at all. For one, until Trump, the US had the best free speech laws in the entire world, pretty much. You can say basically anything. You could support Hamas, it doesn't matter. Like, that's a great environment for that sort of thing. It's a really good environment for that sort of thing, if anything. Obviously,
those fucking
the
like little mini
that makes it a lot harder.
mutton chop side.
Americans never even really tried to get to the steps before that, which is like the Senate and Congress, where those things are less bad. So I feel like there is absolutely a failure in the US for whatever reason. Obviously, people like, and fucking Twitter Marxists would tell you that's just the way it is. It's a bourgeois-controlled political system, whatever. But whatever the reason is, the US is the country, and the people of the US have the most power politically as a bloc of anyone in the world to get shit done for people in other countries. But paradoxically, they do nothing. And
by the way, I agree with everything that you said, and it is also a part of my vision. That's why I talked about class consciousness and instilling class consciousness, and also working on building movements outside of the party, and not like community organizing, even though that can be valuable as well, but specifically labor unions and building a network of pressure that could actually that actually creates maybe even down the line a third party. I'm not against this at all. And this is not something that I stand in opposition to, with the exception of what you just mentioned, the Green Party, obviously, because I think the Green Party they're jokesters who only come around every 4 years.
Yes, actual decent Hassan take.
I think this is yet another point of. It's just another point of like
does suck.
Not knowing the full scope of my perspective on this.
Like I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to argue with a clip of you or something. I'm talking to you.
No, exactly, and I'm telling you, like I agree with you completely, and that's a part of my framework.
In what I was responding to there was what you said about making the Democratic Party more class conscious specifically. I think.
I think that's impossible. It's virtually impossible. That's why I said it would happen only in an idealistic society. But
the Greens do suck.
But my goal is to use the platform that I have and expand on it, so that I can once again move people away from reactionary politics and help them focus on a class-first politics. And wherever that goes, if there is a mechanism that can push the Democratic Party into actual submission to class-first politics, then that's great. If that doesn't work, and there's an alternative, if there's an alternative third party out there, the only way that they will reach viability if it's backed by a strong labor movement that actually engages in labor militancy. And even then, I'm not entirely confident that like this can happen in the United States of America.
But
the reason why I speak on my perspective in the way that I do is because I'm speaking to Americans. And unfortunately, you got to make a lot of burger analogies if you want to get Americans on board. You have to give them hamburgers. Americans are either repulsed by what they perceive to be left politics. I'm not even talking about like revolutionary socialism. I'm talking straight up like basic bare minimum social democratic functions that are afforded by every other comparable OECD state is seen as like radical in this country. Socialism in and of itself is seen as a pejorative in this country. That's why people say like Nancy Pelosi's the worst thing imaginable. She's a socialist. Like obviously that kind of stuff is really stupid, but I think it's indicative of the average American's perspective on this stuff, considering that America won the Cold War and this is the imperial core, and therefore most of our working class is just either completely oblivious to class politics in and of itself, and utterly confused by the notion of class consciousness, or they're incredibly angry at even the thought of it. Like they are repulsed by it, they get mad about it, which is why I have to temper my commentary on this front.
Well, I think you got to be careful with this notion of class politics in the U.S. and for a completely different reason to what you said as well, because there is an element to the present system where Americans benefit greatly from doing things to other countries, or they could at least. You know, they in many ways they don't, because Americans are too dumb to even advocate for getting their own fair share from imperialism. But
I talk about that all the time too. Yeah.
There's two options here, which is like you
can
can appeal to Americans as in like, I'm going to get you a bigger share of this Bernie Sanders. I'm going to get you a bigger share of the spoils.
Damn it, dude.
Yeah.
Or you could appeal to Americans in a way where like they
about
perhaps see beyond
30
national lines and
minutes.
understand themselves as part of a broader whole of the world. And I
will
think if
do
you
that in
like
a
what you were talking about
second,
the unions, for
Ruben,
example,
as
the
soon
average
as I
American
blow
labor
the
union
fuck out of this
is like
base.
it's basically like I wouldn't even call it a union, like in terms of like
Race calls
sort of
them,
things
Race
that you
calls
could
them
imagine.
pig unions, which is not like cop unions, but like corporate unions or unions that are completely servile to the interests of the Democratic Party under the AFL-CIO.
Well, not even just that. Like unions are themselves, in general, obviously narrowly focused on the interests of their members. So that's why you get things like the American Big Tent labor unions being like, oh, like let's get the Lockheed Martin float at a parade or whatever.
Uh-oh.
A huge victory for the Lockheed Martin employees. 10%
Okay,
raise.
yeah, you're mixing and matching a couple different things, but yes, I know what you mean. Of course. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying here is that what you were going on about there was about class politics in the USA. I need to get people on board with this idea that socialism isn't bad. I think you're looking far too much into the future with that rhetoric, because I'm not even thinking about fucking socialism right now, and people think I'm like a radical communist terrorist. Like, I'm not thinking about any of that shit right now. There's so many more immediate concerns that we have to work with, the systems that we have now. Ultimately, I have no faith in Americans of ever doing anything, unfortunately.
No faith in Americans.
Like, if you ask me what are your solutions, I don't have solutions for you, buddy. We have a limited amount of time before shit hits the fan. I would have...
All right, what's this, neighbor? What do you got? What do you got for me? An advertisement.
Learn to love each other. Once I was in San Francisco, walking along the Golden Gate Bridge, and I saw this guy on the bridge about to jump. I thought I'd try to stall him, detain him, long enough for me to put the film in. I said, don't jump, and he turns. You've heard of the elephant.
This is a little much for me right now. We'll come back to it.
Thought previously that something like what is happening in Gaza would cause like a Vietnam level like cultural like schism in the US. It hasn't actually caused it anywhere, not even in Europe where places
20
you know,
years. And also, there was direct involvement with Americans actually going there to fight, which I think is the reason why there was a lot more resistance. Americans are inherently very selfish people, and until they're drawn into the fight themselves in a way that is more meaningful with a draft, not just like the poverty draft, or not just necessarily like a bunch of people that want to get a communications degree for free going out there and getting their dicks blown off while defending some fucking poppy field in the Karengal Valley, but like literally a draft. Only then will selfish Americans actually get up to aggressively protest in a militant fashion in a way that would truly harm the overall interest of the American State Department.
Like at one point, are like people gonna knock on his fucking door?
The US does not have.
Like, when is he gonna get like the FBI showing up for the way he talks about this shit? This is crazy. Ugh.
Rival anymore who needs to compete with that much in terms of geopolitics. China, I mean, I don't know what your stance is on China, but China doesn't do shit. China doesn't want to do shit. China just wants to mind its own business, and that is a huge problem, really. You know, if China tried to do something meaningful regarding what's happening in Gaza, it would probably happen. Like, they would be able to do something about it very easily.
I talked about this just yesterday. I 100% agree. There was like a fake TikTok of like Americans dropping in aid that actually killed Palestinians, ironically enough. But they were literally recycling the American aid being dropped into Gaza, but this time like saying China was doing it, and they were like, "Oh my God, how wonderful that China's dropping aid into Gaza." And one, that was fake. China didn't do that. But two, if China wanted to, it's Israel's second largest trading partner. They could literally fucking say, "Hey, we are going to bring in our military and our NGOs to distribute aid on the Gaza Strip." What is Israel going to do? Say no to that? They can't fucking do that. Any country
China could do
really.
way fucking more than that. Like we saw with the tariff shit, how quickly Trump folded in the face of actual economic consequences from China. They could do something like that to the US if they wanted to. They could do it to Israel. Obviously, it would come at some sort of cost to themselves, but Trump would fold in 2 fucking seconds if China was like, "Hey, we're gonna sanction Israel, or we're gonna put tariffs on American goods or something like that. We're gonna make your shit cost more." But China does not do that, and the USSR was in a position, wasn't in an economic position, but it was in like a military position and a geopolitical position where it could put a ton of pressure on. So now we have a situation in the world today where the US is, it's not totally uncontested, but it is way, way more uncontested than it ever has been before. And we're looking at that in Gaza right now, and I can't tell you what to do about it at all. I can tell you what individuals could do. It would get me banned, so I'm not going to. But still, even if we all did that, I don't think it would change that much in the grand scheme of things.
I don't disagree with you on anything. And also, like I said, this is the exact same shit that I say on my stream for the most part. I'll take it one step further as far as like China's lack of interest in undermining American footholds in its own backyard in the Philippines. I feel like if China operated in the same way as like America did, or even the fucking USSR did for that matter, they could just like arm the Philippine Maoists instead of working with the Duterte government as they did to disarm them and to actively work against them. That's a real destabilizing force in the country. And China doesn't even use it.
Guys
Instead,
are like,
they're just
they're
doing
straight
water
up
spraying
fucking
operations with their Coast
terrorists.
Guard,
Like,
while
why?
simultaneously trying to set up an ASEAN
is Twitch
security
still
partnership where the Philippines are the only fucking party that refuses to sign on. Why do they refuse to sign on? Because they're comfortable being a unsinkable aircraft carrier for the United States of America. So they, like, I'm not, you know, I live in America. You live in Argentina, as far as I know. So obviously, I'm not going to sit here and be like, Xi Jinping should do this, but that is my assessment. But clearly, whatever they're doing has worked so far, at least in terms of like positioning China as a global hegemonic power. But yes, I do recognize that they're being self-interested to a degree where no one seems to care about doing anything to stop the Nazi Israel government from conducting its live-streamed child holocaust.
If we're lucky.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's just materialism in the end. China is extremely good at using the global system that the US set up, so why would they want to challenge it? That's how it is with everything. The Arab states, half of them are US puppets, the other half, they would probably get annihilated if they tried to do anything uncoordinated without the US puppet states helping them. In many other cases, like, I feel like Israel has become something of an inconvenience for its allies at this point, but they're sort of too far in to really do anything about it. Like, you know, it's been like 50, 60, 70 years of nothing but full support for Israel. So at this point, you know, what are they going to do, especially given that they would have to be, like, the US would have to be the one to really pull the plug, and that's not going to fucking do it, is it? So, I mean, it's probably like the bleakest situation that I could imagine right now. Obviously, like, Americans theoretically, as a block of people, like average Americans, have a decent amount of power to challenge this, but they also themselves have no real reason, no real motivation for doing so, because ultimately, you know, what you said about Vietnam probably rings true. It does not affect them that much. It affects some of them psychologically, and that is about it. They don't see any material consequences from it. You know, there has not been like a massive adverse reaction that could turn them against it. Like, for example, like the IRA, for example, did a lot to like instill like fatigue in the British public on their government to try and look for some sort of solution to the troubles.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. There's nothing like it anywhere. Not at all.
Well, there's no situation historically that has existed where the captive population has been this thoroughly, at least in contemporary history that I can think of, where the captive population has been this thoroughly ethnically cleansed in broad daylight without any sort of material support to...
Bro, what are you talking about? This thoroughly ethnically cleansed? Are you out of your fucking mind? What about the Holocaust, you dumb fuck? Like, what are you talking about? What about Rwanda, you colossal fucking retard? What a stupid fucking take. Holy shit. Seriously, dude. But, like, there's, like, so many other fucking genocides that are, like, actual genocides that we saw happen, that the numbers are very clear. And he's like, oh, you never anything like that. What are you fucking talking about, dude? Jesus, this is brain rot.
To offer from other countries, right? Like, you have no Cuban example, you have no USSR example, and the role that they might have played in the ANC's efforts to resist against the apartheid structure in South Africa, and you certainly don't have American congresspersons doing arms trafficking to Hamas in the way that they did to the IRA. You had American conservative politicians of Irish background doing arms shipments to the IRA at a certain point. You could fundraise for the IRA in American bars.
America bad,
right?
America
so
bad. Don't
very,
you
very
forget
different
it.
set of circumstances here. And this
Don't
coming
forget
also
it,
after
okay?
the expanded surveillance state in the aftermath of the war on terror, with a shit ton of social conditioning that Americans totally signed off on, in terms of like Muslims and Arabs being worthy of only death and destruction, and they're all, you know, rapist, barbaric hordes. They're all ISIS. This kind of attitude is reflected broadly in American society or in Western society in general. But that's the silver lining that I see, because in spite of all of that, I think there's only so much dead children that the average Americans can look at and go, this is completely unacceptable. Like, this is fucked up. Now, you're not wrong when you say there's not enough mobilization happening. People are not fucking shit up in an effort to,
not enough to keep
make this costly, this
Ukraine.
undying allegiance to Israel costly. And you're not wrong on that. But I do think that given how much the public sentiment has shifted in such a short period of time, even though it was incredibly costly in terms of the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians at this point, even though the numbers say, what, 63,000? I think that's a severe undercount. There is still, I think that there is still always, like, it's something that I will always push for, regardless of how hopeless I feel.
He probably jerks off to that.
You can try your best. It is absolutely true that in an ideal world, like the number one way to fight this would be to mobilize people in the US, Europe, Australia, Canada, you know, these places which are Israel's primary backers. And, you know, many of us have mobilized. Many people have tried to do stuff, protested and stuff. But clearly, these governments are immune to this sort of pressure at this point. They don't give a shit about it. Like, it's really almost nothing has really changed. Like, Israel is literally under investigation for genocide at the ICJ, for example. I would say at this point they are probably actually going to, like, it's going to be ruled against them. They're actually going to be found to commit genocide in Gaza, and that is a huge fucking deal for a UN court because they've done nothing to convince the court that they aren't doing that, you know, ever since the case started. But I mean, I might be wrong there because it is still a UN court. You know, it's still a court that is ultimately run by the US and all of this, even though pretend it isn't. But I mean, a lot of that is going to be, you know, all these people on the court are like very prominent judges who would not want to sully their name by making an intentionally stupid decision just in the name of politics. So we'll see what happens there. But my point is, like, when you have basically like both of the most important judicial bodies in international law have serious cases against Israel, and you also have like hundreds of thousands of people in the street protesting in almost every single one of the countries that is supporting Israel, in some cases like week after week, it's clear that something has shifted here, and like from how things were 30 to 40 years ago, especially.
Let's see, what is this cosmic?
Good evening and welcome to Big Talk, your weekly gullet full of the massively important. I'm Raymond Terrific, and as usual, gathered around me are about the biggest bunch of eggheads and brainiacs that taxis can be sent to fetch. And together, we're going to be thrashing out some absolutely colossal issues. Right, first up, AIDS pandemic in Africa. Come on, boffins, let's sort this out once and for all. What do we reckon, Richard?
Well, as usual, Raymond, you've raised an absolutely huge question.
Of course I have, Richard, this is Big Talk. And let's get this sorted once and for all.
Well, I think the root of the problem is in education.
Right, send more, sleeves rolled up, ships full of schools. Is that the answer, Leonard?
No, I don't think so.
Right, cancel the school ships. Come on, boffins, let's really bang our heads together on this one.
If I could just...
Yes, Danielle, you're about the biggest boffin here. Sort these guys out and let's stop the dying if we could just about be bothered.
Well, I think it's less about education and more about money.
Money, right, they need money. Okay, how much money, Tim? How much money, Tim, to get this sorted? Leonard! Don't desert me, boffins!
700 billion pounds?
Oh, no, that's enormous. Where are we going to find that? Come on, boffins, work it out. Right, I've got a house worth 300k. So, 700 billion minus 300... Oh, we are nowhere near. Right, okay, get some pizza in. Speed dial 3. We're going to crack this if it takes all night.
That's funny.
Yeah. And the number one thing that I can think of is somehow the internet has made it easier to ignore this shit. I can't exactly articulate how exactly, but it's obviously the most prominent change in the world aside from the fall of the Soviet Union, which is probably bigger, you know. I forgot where I was going with that, actually. I'm a fucking moron.
Well,
what I was going to say was like... I don't know what I was going to say.
Okay, well... I recognize all of that, and part of why I try to communicate these issues in the way that I do, even though I say almost the exact same things that you have said so far in this conversation, not signing off on everything that you say off stream or on social media.
Disagree with.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
We can get to that, but we're having a productive conversation right now. But
we have to yell at each other. I have to speak. I have to play video clips over you, like Ethan Klein did.
Yeah, I'll move into that in a second. But the reason why, for example, why did I broach the subject of Israel with Bernie on First Amendment grounds and the unlawful detention and possible deportation of Mahmoud Khalil? Because I understand Bernie Sanders' position. I don't agree with it, and I think it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous position to have. It's repulsive to maintain the idea that Israel has a right to defend itself. 19 months into Israel's.
Have you seen the videos of how Bernie talks to pro-Palestine protesters?
Yeah, I have. From like 2000 and there's like one from like. There's one that's more recent where people come up to him while he's walking, but he's an old curmudgeon. Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it that. I think it's the topic.
You know what I think it is?
That he knows I'm talking about.
You know what I think it is? I think it's what Bernie did to the average Democrat and the resentment that the average Democrat feels when Bernie is mentioned, because it shows their hollowed out nature of their politics. Pro-Palestinian protesters do to Bernie. I think he recognizes that deep down inside that those people are right and he's fucking wrong, and it pisses him off. Or maybe he just genuinely sees them. Yeah, or he just genuinely sees them as a hurdle and that he has the right mind on this. But what I will say is this: when you go to those rallies where he has 32,000 people showing up, right, in red states, blue states, all around the country, the people at those rallies are far closer to the truth on the issue of Israel and Palestine than Bernie Sanders himself is, which is why I see that as an opportunity to talk to those people there. I see that as I see Bernie Sanders as simply a person that is capable of bringing all of these people together. And with the exception of American foreign policy, which is very significant for someone like myself, obviously, Bernie, I see Bernie as a uniting figure that can be used to build a more robust movement to actually get more Americans that are liberals on board with some of these other ideas. And I think imperialism plays a formative role in that politics, in the politics of the socialist left, of course, because I mean, the alternative argument to the labor aristocracy, like Americans recognizing their class position, but then also recognizing their class position on an international scale and how much they benefit from the unequal exchange globally. The alternative to that also is that every dollar spent on global war and the extraction of natural resources and all of that endless bounty that doesn't even translate to Americans' material conditions improving could be a dollar spent directly on fixing the roads, fixing the potholes. A dollar spent on a bomb could be spent on educational material for children, better schools, a better ISP system, more robust welfare state. So this is like it's such an easy flip once you get Americans to that point, I think. And that's why I, regardless of my disagreements with Bernie Sanders, still hold some respect for him for being able to put this kind of politics in the forefront in a country like the United States of America, where I feel like before his 2016 run, positioning himself against like the establishment Democrats, it seemingly was a rudderless ship heading down the same, I guess, like necro state that we have become, regardless of Bernie.
Necro state.
But at least now there's like more leftist organizing in the country, whether it be a more robust PSL movement, DSA, and even more unionization. Even though our labor union participation rate is pretty fucking low.
Okay, let me grant. Let's just. I don't care to argue like a lot of the stuff that you said because honestly, I don't think it really matters. But
1 point.
Okay, the left movement in the U.S. is bigger now. Let's say that's the case. You have the PSL and all these other things. It looks really positive, bright for the future. Does it though? Has this changed anything? Has anything meaningfully happened as a result of this? If anything, things have probably gotten worse, I would say. So, maybe me and your idea that the U.S. is the place where something meaningful.
Guys, the artist just sent me the badges. They look fucking dope. I'll be getting that final version soon. You guys are gonna love them. I'll make sure to show you all of the different like months so you see what they look like, but they look fucking cool as fuck.
Meaningful could happen is completely, utterly, and just totally wrong in reality.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a more pessimistic attitude, and there are definitely days where I feel that way, but I try not to succumb to that feeling and still push on, knowing full well that like, look, this movement is still marginal, it's still tiny, but it grows every single day, and that's ultimately a good thing because who knows where we might be at. And at the end of the day, the least that the American left could do is like try to get concessions and to try to get America to step away to the best of our ability from the global stage when the decline of empire is setting in.
If you want to get concessions, the best thing to do is to immediately, each and every one of you, break with the Democratic Party already now and get to work. You've had decades to do it. It's probably too late, but why not try? Because what you're doing right now isn't doing anything anyway. So what's the difference? You want a great example?
I'm not against that.
Precisely. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be an argument. Everything doesn't have to be a yelling match.
Yeah, I think Bernie probably is the best possible option we had to do that too.
I mean, there was in 2016. I even thought like he might be something special. He might have been if he had been elected. He might have been different. He had the balls back then to call out obvious shit like there was a coup in Bolivia, basic shit like that. Literally no one else in the US
it's
stuff like
gonna
that.
Be...
And since then, he's just sort of become a shadow of himself. I mean,
my logo, like at different
as a
stages
major party candidate running to
like the Democrats chose to lose rather than let him win. It's just a shame that after that, he didn't really do anything. Like, if anything, that experience turned him into more of an establishment guy than he was before. And that's just sad. But I mean, what I was going to say is that look at the Luigi Mangione thing recently. That is an issue that very directly affects many Americans. Many. That guy, I haven't seen polls on him, but I would assume that a majority of people who know who he is and what he did probably have a favorable opinion of him. But it still hasn't resulted in anything. Like, nothing has come of it at all. There was like a week period where like conservatives and liberals met together in parks and talked about how cool Luigi was and like how the healthcare system is really fucked up. And then everyone just went right back to what they were doing before, and nothing has fundamentally changed. Nothing has really fundamentally been inspired by what was an act that I would have thought would inspire that sort of thing in a country where people, or at least at a time, maybe it's not even the US, maybe just the time period that we live in, where people were ripe to actually take risks to try and seek meaningful change. This isn't happening anymore. And it's not just the US where this isn't happening. I mean, I live in Argentina, as you so astutely said. People in Argentina just sort of do the same thing now. They just let shit happen. This is a poor country where people in general have less to lose, and they just sort of let themselves be experimented on like a pack of lab rats. And there are people protesting against it.
So leave.
Those people are trying to do stuff.
Leave if you hate it. Go somewhere else.
I'm sort of happy to just sit back, relax, and see what's going to happen as someone tries to do to that country the same thing that has already been done to that country 50 times before and never worked in those times either.
I think part of that is also because of the treat economy. Like Americans are pacified by the bountiful treats that they have at their disposal. So
yeah, I mean, and a part of those treats
like,
is the internet and social media as well.
Here's that too, for sure. That's also a treat. But what I was going to say is this, okay? I fear that if the only alternative is socialism or barbarism, right? I fear that without proper political education, without any class consciousness, without any mechanisms of pushback, without any sort of like structural organizing on the labor
probably
front,
pretty strict,
that,
to be honest.
When all of this crumbles inevitably, and I do think it will, all we will have is
God,
a fascist movement,
so
and that's already kind of happening anyway. So that's my big fear, and that's what I try to. That's why I try to do everything in my power to, one, talk to international leftist movements, regardless of how social democratically aligned they are, or even people like Mélenchon, in an effort to try to get people to organize and move in the positive direction, even if change doesn't seem immediate.
Well, I think a lot of, I mean, I'm not specifically accusing you here or anything, but if there's one thing that you could do with your content that might maybe help you use the position that you're in to do something that might actually matter, it is really actually start encouraging people to work outside of the Democratic Party and lead by example as well. Like, if you're going to talk to Bernie Sanders again, scream at him in the face. Scream at him. Scream.
What?
Use that one
God,
opportunity.
this dude is...
I mean, how many more times are you going to have to talk to Bernie Sanders, really, right?
He's very old. He's
so
very
annoying.
I don't think
I'll, screaming at him.
Okay, I don't mean like literally scream at him, but I mean get combative. Put on a public spectacle of it.
You would literally scream at him. Don't fucking lie.
Kanye
That is
West
exactly what you meant, you fucking liar.
Ash Sarkar
Weaselly little liar, dude.
With Bernie that people use all the time, where she presented some of these questions because she had a longer, like an opportunity to have a longer conversation with him. If I'm not
have that with you, you're way bigger than her.
Yeah, I think because he's had that conversation once already, he's probably a little bit more worried. Or I mean, I don't think he would run away from having that conversation with me either. It's just that I guess the plans haven't aligned. But yeah, no, I think that it's important to
probably
ask
not.
I don't
If
think
he
it's
did,
unproductive.
he'd kick him out.
That was never
fast.
I don't think it's that important to talk to him about Israel specifically, because obviously he's
Millet
steadfast in that.
fucking
I did bring up
hates
the
communists.
Would be a third party thing, and
no, I did ask him that.
Did you?
Yeah, that was the other. Those are my two main questions. Was like, what kind of initiatives does he want? The three questions I have for Bernie and for AOC in general, but like especially for Bernie, were do you think that we could build a robust third party movement in this country, and like what are the steps to take to do so? And then the other question was obviously going to be about like what are the direct actions that they're they want to engage with in terms of tackling the issue of like how this administration is using Israel as a way to undermine the First Amendment, because that is precisely what's happening. Like I am trying to frame it I'm trying to frame these questions, or try to get people to ask these questions within the framework of American understanding, like recognizing the selfishness of the average American, recognizing American exceptionalism and American individualism. I think that those are areas that bear fruit. That's something that creates a lot of resentment for average Americans, because like, other than that, they're like, okay, Israel's killing a bunch of Muslims over there. Sure, it seems kind of fucked up, but the way to get Americans, the way to engage Americans on this issue, the best possible way to do that is by, one, talking about tax dollars being spent there, because they're very selfish, and that's something that pisses them off. And two, talk about how this foreign nation has an incredible amount of power over American politics, and that the current administration is using defending Israel as a way to erode civil liberties that Americans enjoy. So that's what I'm trying to do.
I feel like if you appeal to people on the basis of their selfishness, then you're going to have to keep engaging with them on that basis. And,
no, that's just to broach the conversation, to open up the door to...
Okay, but you broach the conversation, right? So it's kind of like you're intentionally approaching it from a position that you yourself don't really believe is the right way to do it. And I think that makes things more difficult for you down the line as well. Or at least maybe not you specifically, like, this is how you engage as a broader movement, like as a intentional strategy among many different people in groups, engaging people in this way. Like, hey, Israel is bad because we spend a ton of money on it and we don't get enough back in return. Okay, then what happens if there is another instance of imperialism? Well, yeah, I know that's not what you mean, but that's sort of the message that you're saying to people.
Criticize him.
We send these tax dollars.
Don't criticize Hassan.
In the USA, we could have universal healthcare instead of that, or whatever. Okay, it's that sort of thing. Like you're appealing to the innate American selfishness.
I mean, in that way he was pretty based, but in a lot
Americanness.
of other ways he's not so based.
So, like you engage with them on that level. And I feel like you're starting from a position that makes it a lot more difficult for you to get through to them from there and get them onto like a right path where they might actually do something meaningful. And this is ultimately why you should give up on Americans and leave.
Oh
I'm not going to do that until who knows what'll happen. Who knows what'll happen? If my former podcast co-host gets his wishes, I'll probably be in fucking jail. I'll probably be under the jail expeditiously.
They're going to be looking for you in the satellite images of Cessat.
Yeah, he's hell bent on sending me to CCOT for sure. But look, even the very fact that like
Hassan
the disgusting ways in which like many people here look at this issue from the framework of
True,
drama.
Daniel.
Like, oh, grievances between content creators, like that shit destroys my soul. It's soul destroying. Seeing that and seeing all these like right-wing reactionaries join in on the fun as well after spending years and years of like, saying anti-Semitic shit about Ethan and calling Gila Klein a horse. They've all now seemingly united.
She is a horse, though.
All of the
She's
okay.
a
See,
horse.
this is what I mean. I don't do that. Okay, this is the.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should be mean.
No, I don't. Well, first of all, I am mean, but not as
No,
mean
no,
as you are, and I don't think that's productive. Oh, you want to talk about disagreements?
Oh, productive.
And
I
our goal
think
is
it's
to
productive.
get people on board,
I
right?
care
That's your
about.
goal.
You know what else isn't productive, Hassan?
also
Being
make money.
a fucking
Shut the fuck up.
terrorist supporter.
It
Why don't
is.
you become transphobic and become like a fucking right winger?
Oh, I
is,
have
I
a
saw
niche.
that
I'm
on Reddit.
expected to. It's like, you have a nice bakery, you bake more bread. You don't branch out. Otherwise, you end up like Elon Musk with 5,000 different companies that all fucking blow.
Okay, but at a time when no one is fucking eating bread and everyone seemingly wants to eat donuts, if you already had the equipment, then you would make donuts. And I think you and I both know that there's a reason why you don't make donuts and you keep baking bread.
I don't know. I mean, I am honest about the things I say, and people for some reason want to see me say them to some degree. So it's like, okay, I already got it. I don't need to branch out. I don't need to start screeching about things.
I think you and I both know where this line of questioning is heading, and that's why you're saying what you're saying.
Where is
But
it heading?
I think.
I
Look.
was thinking that far ahead.
Okay. Well, I think you're
thinking that far ahead.
very smart, and I think you're very well read, and I really like a lot of the YouTube videos and the thought and effort that you put into crafting your YouTube essays. I think they're incredibly well sourced.
But
and
I'm gonna say thank you first.
But
well, no, there is not even a but. It's just that I think sometimes, as someone who's also in the same in the same sphere as you, okay, I think you sometimes get in your own way by presenting yourself a certain way, especially considering that our worldview is something that people, especially in the Western world, are very hostile towards. I think sometimes you get in your own way a little bit with the way you act. You act like a left book guy in a world where.
Can I have an example?
Can I have an example?
So many examples. I think you are. You take a tone sometimes that is perhaps a little too mean for the uninitiated. That most likely
For
shuts
the
them off from actually
uninitiated.
seeing your commentary. You troll a
I think a
little.
lot of those people are already not open to being initiated.
See, I think that's
you have too
defeatist.
much faith.
I think that's defeatist.
Well, I don't think it's defeatist at all, because I think perhaps we can win without them. I think we do not need to appeal to like Burger American, Asmongold viewer number 8,002 million. Asmongold, by the way, I think his audience is way more indicative of the average American than yours, sadly. But
for sure. Yes, and
like
no.
I'm also not American. I'm not really trying to like appeal to a specific audience.
Yeah, but what the fuck are
I
you,
boot up
bro?
my
Nobody
stream or
knows.
whatever, I write a script or whatever, and it's just whatever I feel like talking about, really. And this has sort of generated an
Nobody
audience,
knows what you are,
I talk about these
dude.
things out of interest more so than specifically like trying to appeal to like say Westerners and get them to my side or whatever. I think in a lot of cases, like given the fact that I'm not actually that big of an internet personality, I'm very niche in reality.
No, I know.
I think that
but I'm
exposing
just kinda
people
making a joke.
to like, even if it is by accident, like, exposing
Australian
people
and
to like
Greek.
sort of uncompromising, just tell them what I really think about something, and like be a cunt about it sometimes, might be more effective than you give it credit for, because ultimately when everyone else is walking on eggshells, maybe having someone who can cut through or is more willing to like just be blunt about it is needed sometimes.
Blunt.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I don't even think that you and I
That's
are
the
in
word we're
disagreement on
going
any
with.
of the
That's
major
cool.
points
Sure.
that you've brought up. I guess maybe the only one would be like the framework of like I work with like liberal Zionists or something, which we can talk about. But let's shelf that for a brief moment. The thing I'm thinking of is like they say what I'm saying to you is so silly for me to say, because that's exactly what people say to me all the fucking time, right? But I don't think the people that say that to me are
anything you've heard about me, throw it at me. I love it. It's fun for me.
Yeah, no, I know.
Specifics is good. I feel like because I've talked to him about it before, and I'm like, I heard this thing, and then he's like, well, this is what happened, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I guess like
Who do I prefer from this panel? Who's like the least in like what way? Like what way do you mean? Whose shit views do I find most tolerable? Honestly, out of all of them, Hassan is probably the most media friendly. So I guess I'd go with him. But they're all fucking reprehensible if we're honest, bro. What? Who do you think it is? Don't fucking facepalm me. That's like asking which turd is the best to eat. Don't give me a fucking facepalm. Any choice is bullshit. The fuck out of here with the facepalm. Get out of here. Face palming me right now. You kidding? You too, neighbor Uni? Oh my god. Then what are your answers? Go ahead. What are your answers? Y'all are so fucking smart, huh? Huh? The foul fajita? Really? Nah. Nah. Can't do that, bro. Cat ears, dude, because he's not saying anything. Dude, honestly though, Noah's a fucking retard. He's just like a he's just a Hassan simp, dude. Like, fuck that guy, honestly. Fuck him super hard. Yeah, right? I mean, like, this is a hard choice. Like I said, this is like trying to decide which fucking turd is best. Like, what turd do you prefer? What's your preferred turd?
What's the worst thing that someone has told you about me?
No, I know like the fucking the pedophile stuff is like fake. I know all that shit. I know that's not.
Yeah, but Bad Empanada has said the most vile things about like Israel and Jews out of all of them. So I think he's the worst, if you ask me. Like, he's the worst one. He's a doxer. He keeps getting banned.
It's not real. Like the
Not a pedophile.
tweets. The fake
That's
tweets
an endangered species these days.
The fake. First of all, pedophiles are not an endangered species. Holy fuck! There was
not
apparently.
I mean, someone who's not a pedophile. I mean.
Oh yeah. Okay. But this is also like somewhat of an unproductive conversation to have from my estimate, from the way I see it.
Wait,
Like,
we're here to fundraise. We're not here to have productive conversations.
No, I know, but
Ultimately,
still, I don't want to ever come across like I'm just like scolding you. Like, do whatever the fuck you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
Like that every Zionist should get the wall.
No, because I'm not scolding you. I just want to make that clear that because I think a lot of people get parasocial even in your audience or in my audience as well, and that fucking annoys me to no end when people are like, Bad Empanada said this, or I'm sure my fans will come into your chat and be like,
I mean, I hate it as well, where it's like, I don't know, like I was streaming the other day and people were like, yo, Hassan's talking about you, and I'm like, who fucking goaded him into doing that?
Yeah, it's just, it's annoying because like, you're not someone that I consider to be an ideological enemy at all. Which is why I don't even think it's like productive to be like, you did this, you did that.
Said every Zionist should be executed via the wall.
Because it comes across as scoldy and silly, and then people will use that against you or use that against me in the future as well. But I guess like it's shit. Like, I understand the point that you were making when you were doing the Alexa Flood game on Steam that you were playing. Like, I understand the broader point that you're making. This game was something that my chat wanted me to play a long ass time ago, like far before October 7, because I think it was out, or a different version of that game was out in the past. where it's flipping the script on Call of Duty, right? Because like it's totally fine when you play Call of Duty. Nobody even thinks it's political. They think it's apolitical unless there's a woman operator. But when you flip the script and you give the guns in the hands of like Hamas operatives or Palestinian resistance groups, then all of a sudden it's considered to be completely unacceptable and very dangerous.
But
like doing doing this Al-Aqsa flood thing while also like looking for Hila Klein by name specifically, you have to understand.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen. I never mentioned her name.
Secretary.
Let me explain what happened there, okay? So Ethan tried, he misconstrued a clip where I was in that game, and the AI in that game is extremely, it's either the AI is very good or it's very bad, and by that I mean, I don't know if the designer intended for the opponents to be really stupid or not. So like, my first experience in that game is like, I walk up to 2 Israeli soldiers right next to them and they don't react. And I said, are these a bunch of Ethan Kleins on an Ozempic binge? Like, as in, are these fucking morons? Are they high on like drugs?
I don't think Hassan
and
would go ahead on his
he was
part
saying, this is me. He was saying, this is me, and
murdered.
simulating killing me. That's the sort of thing that he was referring to in that.
They've sent some pretty
I think
awful
you can understand
things,
how that could be misconstrued, considering that the entire thing that you're engaging in is already
I think only
considered like.
I think it was hilarious. You're laughing, don't lie.
I'm just saying that like when you do that, people are going to, so many people that would otherwise like listen to the bountiful information that you are presenting on your normal YouTube essays are going to be like, this is a scary guy, and I don't even know if I can entertain this at all. And
I feel like that's like a hypothetical guy, though. Like you're saying, so many people. I'm like,
yeah,
maybe some, but like how many?
That vileness is
if
so
someone is put
vile
off by me playing a video game where you kill IDF soldiers, and they think about like, they see Ethan Klein saying some shit about me, like, oh, he tried to kill me in the video game or whatever, and they just take it at face value and write me off forever. And they just write me off forever because of that. Like, honestly, I don't think I had any chance of reaching those people ever in the first place.
That's not true.
That sort of person is not going to sit through a bad empanada video essay.
No, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong about that.
Immediately tap out.
Here we go.
You're 100% wrong about that.
I've sat through one of
I think it's just true. There's a lot of people I
fucking
think,
essays
like,
before.
the average admin viewer, for
garbage.
example, that's millions of people. That's a way bigger audience than yours, sadly. Why are you flexing, Noah? Jesus.
I was stretching.
I don't have guns to show off. Like, it's not fair.
No, I don't. No, I've been doing push-ups for my stream, so.
I mean, you,
the average fan is either a fucking rabid neo-Nazi, as I found out earlier today, or the absolute dumbest person you've ever encountered. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm not even saying like, oh, engage in like civility politics. I'm just saying that there's, I think, a broader audience that you absolutely could inform and potentially even radicalize if you were to soften your approach a little bit more. That's all I'm saying. But then again, that's why I always say like, look, Bad and I don't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And also, I always
but
say
I'm a
Bad
Jew,
and I don't disagree on.
I'm gonna care more about the Zionist
We just
thing.
disagree on methods, and that's it. So I'm just telling you, like, that's. I
think in response to that one specific point, I think when you water down your rhetoric in a way where you were kind of talking to people and advocating for things that you might not actually believe in yourself, just as a way of getting their foot in the door, you are sort of bringing people into wrong ideas and the things that you yourself know are wrong as well, in hopes that maybe later on you'll be able to get through to them with something that is right. And maybe that isn't the right way to go about things.
Not necessarily. I think you. I think you can make a much more coherent and clear point about how. Like, I'm not even saying don't play the game at all. I'm simply saying that, like, you're not broaching
the game isn't like actionable on YouTube. You're allowed to play this game totally.
No, I understand.
What happened is Ethan literally sent an email to his own personal YouTube rep and got the video taken down. That's what happened.
He definitely is
Remember when Josh sent
not the biggest free speech defender, as we've found out.
In general, I just want to say this like on stream. Don't be afraid of him, because I can tell you, he has been doing that with every single one of my videos.
You gotta stop doing that.
Not you. Just in general, to anyone watching who might make content.
Thanos figured it out.
Ethan complains about your videos.
A while ago, in like my early streaming days, Thanos came on and we watched one of his videos together. And then after a while, he started getting the picture. As I was like showing that, look, maybe not everything he's saying is false, but it's like Norm Finkelstein, where it's really clear where he's trying to point you in the direction, and it means you're not getting like an honest representation of whatever the topic is that he's talking about.
His YouTube rep every time, and the only time it's ever worked was that one video, and it just got taken down. I didn't.
Why do you think that video? Why do you think that video worked?
Because like he made the argument that I was simulating violence against him. That was why.
And that's my point.
That was the one case where his YouTube rep was like, okay, we'll give you this one, man.
Like, I think you'd be a beneficial voice to have on Twitch or even on other platforms. But there's
no way he's gonna get left on Twitch.
I think your attachment to Twitch is erroneous. You should be on YouTube primarily. It's way bigger.
Yeah, but that's a different subject. I mean, I
also better for free speech. You can say Zionist here.
I know. Well, shouts out to the ADL for that one.
Okay, well, can I just?
Jewish conspiracy!
And I wasn't banned. If we're being real,
YouTube can't be pressured like that. That's the difference. YouTube is not vulnerable to that sort of pressure, because YouTube is a way more international platform than Twitch is. Way more. It's like they have actual business operations in most countries in the world. They have financial, departments are more independent in different continents and stuff. So they ask, if the ADL runs a campaign against you for YouTube to do something to you, YouTube will just ignore it. Twitch really can't. Twitch is in a position where they have to.
No, I know, and then they run it up the chain of command too. They'll
if
go.
The Jews
I know
come
they pressure
for you
Amazon
on
directly.
YouTube,
It's really gross. Like the shit that like Ethan and the sex pest community that he's like aligned with have done in terms of like mass brigading and email campaigns and like literally running it up the executive branch all the way to Amazon is completely and utterly psychotic.
To the point where border agents are now asking you Ethan Klein talking points.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. That's a byproduct of living in the United States of America. And I am aware of this issue, and I'm YouTube.
You know what? These guys have microaggressed so hard. Not a single time during this whole video have they even mentioned BIPOC people. Okay, so clearly these guys are racist.
Salivates at the prospect of me going there to live stream there. Trust me, I know. So
have they contacted you? Or you probably don't want to talk about it if they did?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course. I talk to you. I have a YouTube rep.
Do it.
I have a
way
YouTube
more
rep.
effective on YouTube. You'll be way more effective streaming on YouTube. Come on.
I mean, I think the community
People
element
get
of Twitch
hundreds of views on YouTube instead of just like 50,000 on Twitch.
They take videos of views from us though, me and you. Hassan came over.
Okay,
that's true.
Maybe that's true. Yeah. Okay. Don't come to YouTube.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck up to Twitch.
Yeah. You gotta think about that. But where were we? What were we talking about? Oh, just like we have disagreements here and there. I ultimately don't care what you do. I understand it. I have also a lot of people whose commentary I enjoy that say a lot more insane shit than you do, even.
That's the thing. Like, I have this image where I'm like once an international criminal, and to be honest, I find it really funny. So I kind of
no, it's because you have a old left book ass attitude. You're like Mr. Troop Exploder. You know what I mean?
What is
left
like
Troop Exploder?
I've only ever heard that term used
on Facebook. Old communists on Facebook and Facebook groups would just like post the type of shit that you post.
Well, I mean, do you think that U.S. troops should be a protected class who, actually an interesting thing about YouTube rules is you're allowed to call for the deaths of soldiers.
Yeah, you can't do that in Twitch either. Twitch, that's part of the reason why I got banned initially with the 9/11 stuff. It wasn't because I said America deserved 9/11. It's because I shit on Dan Crenshaw, who's a veteran and therefore was a member of a protected class.
Oh,
isn't that crazy? A fucking American.
Isn't that crazy? No, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. It makes perfect sense. How do you think that's crazy? The fact that you think that's crazy is fucking crazy. Yeah, fucking crazy weirdo.
Who was advocating to, at the time, continue giving weapons to Saudi Arabia, which that's the other side of this conversation that's so funny. Because that was me yelling at Dan Crenshaw because he was telling Joe Rogan, like, we got to keep giving weapons to fucking Saudi Arabia, actually. Because these guys, these terrorists, they hate us because they ain't us. And I was like, bro, these are the guys that did fucking 9/11, and you're advocating to give them weapons. They end up in the hands of Al-Qaeda in Yemen, fighting against the fucking Ansar Allah, the Houthis. So it was a mind-boggling situation.
I get so triggered when they call the Houthis Ansar Allah.
Was that the America deserved 9/11 context?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the
context. Makes more
context.
sense now. Like you were saying, they caused it because they gave the Saudis the weapons, basically.
No, it was just basic blowback. Like that's what I was saying. Not that Americans deserve to die in the fucking.
Who do you think did
Twin Towers.
9/11?
What?
Who do you think did 9/11?
Oh no!
A little bit here, a little bit there.
I
think it's extremely disrespectful to imply that to imply that Al Qaeda and Osama bin Laden didn't do 9/11. I feel like it's taking a lot of credit away from them in their operation.
Oh, no, I think that. Well, I think the joint.
Oh my god! Oh my god, bro! Holy shit! I can't believe he just fucking said that! Oh! I can't believe he fucking said that, dude. I can't believe he fucking said that.
In the fucking.
Who do you think did
Twin Towers.
9/11?
What?
Who do you think did 9/11?
A little bit here, a little bit there.
I
think it's extremely disrespectful to imply that to imply that Al Qaeda and Osama bin Laden didn't do 9/11. I feel like it's taking a lot of credit away from them in their operation.
Oh, no, I think.
Cosmic. That's not why I'm emoting. I'm emoting because he said, I think it's disrespectful to say that Al-Qaeda didn't do it because it takes a lot of credit away from them and their operation. That's what I'm emoting at. It's still shocking to hear it, Neighboruni. It's still shocking to hear it. What a fucking... Oh my god. See, this is why he's the worst one. This is exactly an example of why he's the worst fucking one. That's disgusting. That is so disgusting. Maybe I'm just desensitized to it, Cosmic, because I've already heard the fucking conspiracy a bunch of times. Ugh. No, you don't get... I'm Jewish. You don't get to facepalm. You don't get to facepalm at me. I'm Jewish. Fuck you. I'm just hearing him openly with no reservations, just praising them is fucking crazy. Cause when you talk about the Jews did 9/11 conspiracy, it's to say they're bad. He doesn't want to do the Jews did 9/11 conspiracy because he thinks it was good. It would even be better if he did think it was the Jews, because then he'd be complimenting us. Oh my god! Oh shit, bro. Oh! God, I hate this guy. Much. Yeah, let's take a little break. Let's take a little break for this piece of shit.
Al zurdo de mierda no le podés dar ni un...
Al zurdo de mierda. Oh my god. Cosmic, I'm not gonna... Cosmic, how do you not understand what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit here and explain it to you. For fuck's sake.
milímetro.
Definir zurdo de mierda que no
todos los que,
entiendo.
digamos, los colectivistas, los que ponen, digamos, o sea, esa idea... A ver,
¿Por qué le pones de mierda, digamos?
Porque son una mierda. O sea,
vos mezclás...
No,
pero
es que si pensás... Pero si pensás distinto...
Daniel, can you please explain to Cosmic why I said it even would have been better if he had said the Jews did it, because he would have been actually complimenting us on a job well done? Because I can't. This is obvious what I was saying.
Te van a aniquilar. Ese es el punto. Es decir, vos al zurdo no le podés dar un milímetro, porque le das un milímetro y lo toma para destrozarte.
This is
es
kind of
decir,
true.
usa, digamos, o sea, vos no podés negociar con el zurdo. No se
No se puede. No se puede. Ese tarado de mierda.
No se negocia porque te van a llevar puesto. Si tienen un golpeador que caga trompadas a la mujer, digamos, si es
Caga
de ellos,
trompadas.
se pone el pañuelito verde y grita todo el tiempo contra el neoliberalismo, lo ocultan. ¿Me entendés? O sea, si de repente hay alguien que acosó a un periodista que acosa a otra periodista, lo ocultan. Es decir, a todos los de ellos lo ocultan. Todas esas aberraciones la ocultan. Ahora, si vos estás del otro lado, a vos te van a estropear. Te van a matar.
La
te
verdad,
van a dar con lo que sea. No les
eso es la
importa
verdad.
arruinarte la vida.
Pero no del otro lado. De tu lado. Pero un poquito más a la derecha. Y te van a trompar la mierda. Hijos de vil puta.
¿Por qué? Porque no...
Sorry. What I meant was... not on the other side, even on their side, but a little bit to the right of them, and they're gonna fucking come after you.
Pensás como ellos. Y ¿sabes qué es lo bueno de todo esto? Hay algo bueno en todo esto. Porque como el error es humano, Como todos nos podemos equivocar, ¿sabes qué nos obligan? Nos obligan a ser mejores. Y como estamos siendo tan mejores que ellos, como los estamos aplastando en la batalla cultural, los estamos pasando de arriba, porque no solo le ganamos en lo productivo, somos superiores moralmente, somos superiores estéticamente, somos mejores en todo. Y les duele, les duele. Entonces, como no pueden pelear con las...
Yep. Thank you, Daniel.
herramientas legítimas se apalancan en el aparato represivo del Estado, poniendo torres de guita para hacernos mierda. Y aún así no pueden, no pueden. Tuvieron que bajar la nota, tuvieron que bajar la nota. ¿Me entendés? Que están perdiendo. Están desesperados, están perdiendo la batalla cultural, los zurdos de mierda. Por primera vez se ven acorralados los zurdos de mierda.
He's so angry. Damn, pero la reconcha a su madre. Yeah, he said the terrorists did it, and he said it was a compliment to their competency. He was praising their ability and their operation, Cosmic. Este pibe es un loco. I don't know how much more I can watch of this for tonight. This is crazy. Because he's saying they had to be very competent to pull that off. So if Israel did it, it stands to reason he would have been saying they're very competent to have pulled that off. Is he wanted in Australia? No. No police warrants or anything. No, that's fine. I'm giving him that. I've given him that.
I think.
Although this is one of those situations, I don't know if there's a warrant or anything. I know he's doxxed. Although this is one of those situations where it's like, you know, better to keep your mouth shut and let people think you're a fucking retard than open your mouth and erase all doubt.
Think that, well, I think it's a joint partnership. You know, I don't think you get to fucking work inside. I don't think you get to literally be a known CIA operative and also get to learn how to fucking fly a plane and tell your flight instructor you don't need to learn how to fucking land the plane and then also then end up doing 9/11 without a little bit of government oversight or lack thereof, I guess.
Well, like when you put it that way, the world like from before is like, totally unthinkable. Like I would like get black bagged if I tried to enter the U.S. Probably it's probably been like that for like the last 5 years.
No,
I mean, not that I want to. That's the best thing about it. Is like people
No,
make
for
fun of
sure.
me. Like,
You would get
I don't think it's really that
Why would I want
overt
to enter
with
the U.S.? You guys
Hassan.
think
He
you're like
still tries to be at least marginally
friendly. Yeah. No, I understand.
People in the U.S. think that.
Are you?
I mean, he's still don't get me wrong. He's still fucking crazy and retarded.
Are you a Cypriot Australian?
But like compared to
what is your
Bad Empanada, like,
what's your ethnic background?
he keeps a lot of it.
Greek something?
I don't know.
What kind of?
I don't know, dude. Like,
which
why do I have to choose one? They all fucking suck.
Okay.
But
so
you know, Bad Empanada adds insult to injury for me because he fucking lives in Argentina, and that pisses me off.
asking.
Like Drew
Yeah, you know
Pavlov.
what your people did to us in Anatolia? What did you do?
Am I unlocking epigenetic memories right now?
Yeah, I have intergenerational trauma, just like the Israelis. That's why they get to do genocide. So I get to do genocide too. And
Oh,
your Turkish-
fuck off!
You
should come to America.
Yeah. I know. The reason why I say this
I
is
don't know.
like, you
It's
got two sides of the same coin.
where the
You got
Jews
Drew
went.
Pavlov
They
and you
had
got
to
Ben
follow us.
Panada.
That's where a lot of the Jews went. They couldn't go to
That's
Israel.
hilarious
right?
by accident. That's the problem.
So Argentina
he thinks
was
he's
the
funny,
next,
like not by
next
accident. I
choice.
can't let that stand.
Yeah, no, he's repulsive. He's disgusting.
I don't know.
and-
You've been over his
He's
story
so
on your
used
stream,
to-
haven't you? Is it worth going over it again? For the
What,
people who
his
don't
dad
know?
yelling at him?
The Drew Pavlov origin story? No, not that. The Drew Pavlov origin story. Like he was like a pathetic. Like he actually contacted me 4 or 5 years ago. Like, hey man, I really like your videos. Blah blah blah. He was trying to frame himself as like a left critic of China during the Hong Kong protest era. And I was actually like I wasn't like against the protest. I was like sort of, let them protest. Why not? There's no need to do this. The Chinese system is strong enough to withstand protests. You shouldn't
Oh
react
my
this way.
god,
Is my
he
sort
was
of criticism
against
of
the
it.
Hong Kong protests. What a fucking dumbass.
And Drew Pavlov saw me as like an ally because of that, which disgusts me. And he started DMing me. And then like within a couple of years of that, the anti-China grift, when that's
He's
your whole
like, let him
personality,
do
inevitably
it,
leads-
but like, he's like, let him do it, but China's better for you, okay? God damn.
So just the far right, basically. Because
Yeah.
where else is that going to go when that's the only facet of your personality? Like the big Western enemy, I'm
You
against
gonna
that.
firebomb the Chinese embassy or something?
Well, allegedly, he was in the UK. I don't know why. He was in the UK for some reason. And a bomb threat was called in the Chinese embassy from his email. And he got arrested for that. And then I don't know
From
what
his
happened
email?
after that, from his email.
How do you get out of that? Damn, the Atlantic Council has incredible connections.
So Drew Pavlov is someone who has, to be clear, Drew Pavlov is the one who originated the claim that I was arrested for like child rape. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you here is with the amount of charitability that someone like that deserves. Drew Pavlov was arrested because he's the one who called in the bomb threat and he was planning to bomb the Chinese embassy. But the Met Police heroically forwarded his plan. So Drew Pavlov is a terrorist.
Wait, what?
Thank you, Met Police. They didn't give any guns to do it. They were unarmed.
Is that true? Dude is kind of unhinged, not gonna lie. But he denies it. I don't know. Dude's unhinged.
I'm there.
Yeah. He would have, they're horrible. They have a horrible track record of stopping pedophilia and sexual assault. But
Yeah, but
apparently-
he also took in a lot of Jews, Cosmic. I think Argentina just took in a lot of people. They've always been a very everybody come here country. But maybe Bedouin was also Nazi lover too.
Oh,
this one guy was so incompetent in his in his actions that they were able to make short work of it. How did he get away with it? This is what I'm saying. Like,
there's actually there's multiple videos and images of Drew Pavlov actually being
anyone
arrested that I
ever
could easily
able
work with if
to
I was as petty as he.
Back that up?
oh, that's true.
Probably not.
I'm surprised you don't do that. But in any case, I mean,
He's not bigger now. Like he's
Yeah.
the most ignorable guy in the world. He
yeah,
streams
that's true.
for
He's gonna
an
nut that
audience
we
of
just
20
talked about him. He's
gonna do an entire stream about it. It's gonna be 8 hours long.
Yeah.
Like the last time I heard about Drew
Tune in.
Pavlov was a couple of weeks ago. Hey Drew, like he's the sort of streamer who is so inexperienced and like amateur in what he does that he opens random links from his chat and it's just porn all the time. Every stream, it's the same thing.
Oh my god.
Like with me and Felipe, isn't that what happened?
Honestly, I appreciate having him around. It's so funny.
Yeah. Oh,
Tom and Jerry, they call you
here's one point of contention. React-gate. The reason why I had a blockade implemented on Bad Empanada videos for the longest time was because you were one of the YouTubers that was like, fuck this guy. This guy is stealing other people's labor. How dare he fucking do this? And maybe I'm misremembering, but I think that's what you said initially. So I was like, I'm never gonna watch this fucking dude's videos. Like I was watching your videos at the time.
Do you
but
actually
not
want to
on
talk
stream.
about the React stuff? It might go bad for you.
No, I think
the issue of React content. When you look at React content, do you think it has been a positive? Look at Asmongold. This beast that we have, this dragon. Okay, is it a filthy fucking dragon covered in cockroaches and
Stinky
shit? But it's still a
dragon.
dragon. That's because of React content.
I think I think that's fair for sure. You're not wrong. I think that like it's the lowest form of content for sure, where you just like sit there and you go, yeah, but
I'm not even talking specifically about you. Like maybe I did. Like I think the reason I responded to you on that is because you were arguing with people who use you as an example of it, and the arguments that you were making weren't that great. Like, but when I react to someone, it benefits them. For example, is an argument that I remember you making, which can be true. Okay, sometimes
We have someone here that can speak to it. Not to like
Getting
throw you
around
in,
to-
Noah.
you
it's
were
okay.
at default.
I was
Well, when
streaming.
people react to my videos, what usually happens is I gain, hundreds,
marginal.
200 subscribers. I gain like a few thousand views maybe, and that's really it. And the people who watched, who especially like on Twitch, I don't really care. I don't care if someone reacts on Twitch, but if you react and you actually upload the clip, it should be enough of like a criticism or like so you add enough to it that at least constitutes legal fair use. Asmongold does not do that, for example. Like maybe you're a bad example of this. Maybe not the best example of this.
I
because you
react
actually
mostly to
talk about
political
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something to criticize when it's political.
Yeah, I react either mostly to political stuff, or if it's like bullshit content, like I still try to make the most of it. But I think here, this is a Noah exclusive. Okay, I'm about to say something that I don't think I've ever said on YouTube or in public even.
I got the button.
I think that the initial response, the first ever React game, when people were getting mad at me because like I would have the chair on, and while the videos are playing, totally fucking fair and valid. And for the past multiple years, that's not happened on my broadcast. Like there are instances where I get up to pee, but it's usually during a video that's playing that's like from a friend or from news and commentary, and it's only for like 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, I mean, the examples that I did see them use would be like there was one, like the initial video that I think started that thing. I don't remember who it was, but you reacted to his video and you just sort of left. And it wasn't a political video. It was like a fun little video. And I think his point was valid. And I
apologize. By the way, that's another thing. I literally apologized to that person instantly, and then they basically like quintupled down and like did this like 8-hour broadcast with a bunch of like random fucking slop tuber commentary people, and I was like, what the fuck? I think this guy's just like trying to farm drama out of this. But yeah, I mean, that person, actually I don't know what their preferred pronouns are, but that person was totally valid, and I immediately apologized to them, which got lost in the sauce. And then after I saw the 8-hour back and forth, I was like, oh, this is just like a farmer.
Well, maybe it was in the end. Maybe that person.
I think that person was a farmer.
I think ultimately, regardless of them or any other shitty people who were on their side, like you kind of seem like to me like you were on the wrong side of that because of I don't know, you seem really hostile to. Maybe it's because you saw that and I was getting off that, but like you seem pretty hostile to it initially. I don't know. Maybe it sounds like you've thought about it more since then and sort of realized that.
I think there were a bunch of stuff that I did.
They were kind of right, at least initially.
There was a bunch of stuff that I did initially that I changed. I don't do anymore. Like I don't cook food while on stream. Like I order. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I used to do that I don't do anymore. In an effort to like reduce the chair time. The thing that I was frustrated by is that people were just like saying that all I do is just like put the chair on and fuck off, and that was annoying to me because it's like before the Reactgate shit, I was known for being a person who paused all the time and like added way too much information to the fucking video that like people lost the plot of the video. So much so that Casually Explained had like a very famous viral meme about it where he goes, "Thanks for unpausing the video, Hassan," knowing that I was going to react to it, and very quickly that like flipped, that attitude flipped, and everybody basically turned into like there are still people who think that I just sit there and play YouTube videos and like the fuck off. Like they unironically think like there's just a chair for an hour for like a 15-minute YouTube video.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like in your case you're right. It's just that in that one specific instance, that guy did have a point, and I think maybe that negatively polarized you a bit to the point where like you saw me talking about it and you're like, fuck this guy, whatever. But I think fundamentally a lot of the people who expanded on that, even though some of them are cunts, like Dark Viper AU, he hates you. He's a huge cunt. But his video series on React content, he's right. He's really right about it. Like
I don't think he's really
yeah, he's a weirdo. I mean, he's weirder than me, okay? Weirder than me.
Yeah, what's up with the Australians?
Yeah, what's going on down there? What a shithole. But like,
the fucking Maoists are the most insane YouTubers I've ever encountered.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is just like I don't think your content is like the level. Like React content is totally fine as long as the person reacting or criticizing or whatever actually adds like something to the video that is beyond just making a face in the corner like Asmongold does, and then re-uploading the video and getting the money off it. And that's basically the whole message of it. Like Dark Vibe AU has an entire video series where he talks about that. I think he uses you as an example in that too much and unfairly, but I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't really take that far.
Oh yeah.
That was a bit much, but ultimately, I don't like when people focus on one little thing about the argument to discredit the entire argument. Because that guy made like 10-hour-long video series about it, and everyone just focused on that one little thing. And
a little bit of a crazy argument, I think.
Yeah, it's a crazy argument. But it's not. It's a dumb way to make his point. Ultimately, he's still ultimately in the broad strokes.
Yeah, I also, like I said, I've taken the notes from all of the people that shit on me for years over that, which is part of the reason why you don't really hear too much about people saying that I'm like reacting unfairly or whatever. I rarely ever react to like an unknown channel anyway nowadays, and it's mostly just like news and commentary that I'm adding additional commentary over. But that's just something that I wanted to explain, because I was like, that was the initial reason why there was a blockade on Bad Empanada videos on the broadcast, because I heard you were like,
I mean, I've said that before as well. Like, it's so insignificant. Like, Ethan keeps bringing that up. Like, oh my god, you said you wouldn't watch Bad Empanada, and he did. Like, okay, to be clear, even if you didn't used to watch me for the reason that he tries to claim, like he tries to claim you said I was anti-Semitic or something. Obviously, that never happened. But even if that was the case, it's so insignificant. Like, what a ridiculous talking point. Like, you watch a YouTuber who I don't like? How dare you? But the actual reality of it is like it was basically a dumb little discussion about something that compared to the genocide in Gaza doesn't matter at all. And for him to keep bringing it up, it's just so crazy.
I want to bury the hatchet. I want to bury the hatchet with what's his face, the Aussie guy that you were, Dark Viper, and also JXE.
You should invite him on. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's a weirdo, but he's a smart guy.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a liberal though, I assume, right? Or maybe like a labor guy or something.
He's like a radical liberal, I would say. He's like a social democrat. He mostly just hates dumb right wingers, and I mean that's generally good enough for a YouTuber.
Yeah, I mean I think there's. I respect that. That's fine. That's a good entry point into the conversation.
You should get him to watch this and get him to come on your stream, get some content.
Yeah, no, I don't really care
your
about that.
Fundraiser like ours, we just hit 300K. Just so you're aware.
Doesn't that mean you have to like Shave your mustache or something?
Yeah, 300 is I think.
can't believe it.
275 was shaved mustache. 300 is I don't even remember.
How much is that? How much is that? I haven't been looking at the stream because
268 was the main one, and then there's two others. One of them's 12,000. One of them's about 20,000. So added together, that's somebody do that. I think it's
that empanada is profitable. They're definitely not here for Esan. Don't tell me otherwise.
Of course not.
It's a controversial figure, man.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, what do you think about the fact that Ethan Klein made 30 minutes of your debate, like, to be just asking you random questions about me?
Yeah, I mean, somewhat expected, I guess. I assume that he did not want. I mean, it was very clear that he did not want to talk about like the main point of contention, which was that he was doing propaganda at the behest of Israel and also trying to deplatform pro-Palestinian advocates, which is what he was doing and has been continuously doing. It was very interesting that he conceded. What?
A staunch advocate for the Palestinian people.
Yeah, no, stalwart allies. He said. I still haven't even watched the second half. I know you made a reaction video that was like, how long?
Once I'm gone, you should stay on here and do it here.
How long was your? Well, I have to pee and go to sleep, but I'm planning on reheating the second part of it. But how long was your reaction to YouTube to the context nuke?
I don't know if you've watched on your stream. I don't think you watched like the main one that I did, but it was like 4 hours long. And I mean, that's long, but a 4-hour long response to an hour and a half video is extremely short. That's really short.
Because yeah, mine on the first hour, because I ended it at like 1 hour, mine was 8 hours long. Because
I mean, it's also because like
you didn't do. I
skipped over the personal stuff about you. I assume you have to deal with that. So it makes it way longer.
It's not even just that. It was also 8 hours and 51 minutes long. Sorry, 9 hours long. The reason why mine took much longer than yours is also not only did I, dismantle a bunch of the silly ahistorical approaches that he made, but I also would come in with like additional context. So I would just like add, because it was a bunch of clips that were like 15 seconds long, mysteriously. So I would just like expand the clips a little bit, like go directly to where he got the clip from, expand it a little bit, and show that the context actually was like virtually the exact opposite of the thing that he was presenting.
That's also the average thing with the average anti-you video that I've watched from these right-wingers. And yeah, Ethan's a right-winger, obviously. Like the main way that they argue is they just play a clip of you, and then I watch the clip, it finishes, and they don't actually tell you what's wrong with it.
Yeah,
and they just do it over and over again. Ethan did that a lot. Like, most of the clips that you played of you were like 3 seconds long. Obviously, the worst one was like, doesn't matter if rape happened on October 7th, and what you were saying is completely different to what he implied as. And now, like, you have fucking, like, Barry Weiss's media outlet writing articles about you saying that, and sourcing the Destiny Wiki.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
It is. I mean, I guess it's not that interesting. I think it shows that there is a real devolution of like the Hasbro machine, because like in the previous years, I think that it would be like real journalists at the New York Times writing that article, and they wouldn't be fucking sourcing it off of like a sex criminals Wikipedia page made by like autistic stalkers online. So I think on that front, I think it's like the only places that have any sort of motion on this stuff is like the New York Post, the Daily Mail, and like Free Press. Like these are Hasbro rags, right? So they don't like that. That in of itself, I think, shows that like discourse around this issue has changed quite a bit.
It has. It really has. The only thing is that, like, I totally agree with you on that. Like, I feel like Israel's PR has gotten so bad in just the last year and a half that it's never going to be able to recover. But on the flip side, I have, as of yet, not seen any fruit from that fact. It's like people are aware, people know, and nothing has changed.
I understand. I know. The other, what else was I going to say? There was another thing that I was talking about the context nuke, or at least like the debate, the back and forth. Oh, I found it really cowardly that he just like immediately conceded on the main point of contention to be like, oh, it's a genocide. And I know he doesn't believe that, because like it doesn't make sense. If he believes that, then like so you're like, what I was trying to draw home was the argument that I was trying to present is like, okay, so if you fucking believe it's a genocide, like why are you spending all of your time talking about like my bleach sword that you have decided is the most anti-Semitic thing that anyone could ever do?
I mean, Ethan is doing like the internet equivalent of trying to start the proletarian revolution in Britain in 1944. It makes no fucking sense. Like, it's that's the sort of thing that you would do if you want the Nazis to win, you know? And all he's doing is talking about how bad pro-Palestine people are. Like, he's a stalwart advocate for the Palestinian people. You know, he thinks there's a genocide, and then all he does is talk about how people who also think there's a genocide and who also conceive of themselves as stalwart advocates of the Palestinian people are all extremely bad. And also, Israel is a great place.
Buddy.
I mean, no, he doesn't believe the shit that he says about himself, obviously.
Yeah. And obviously, like, I mean, in an effort to, like, basically present himself as, like, intellectually consistent, I got him to concede that his wife was a terrorist. So, like the things that's
so insane.
I think ultimately it doesn't matter, though. My point is, as you brought up Asmongold, and as you brought up Ethan Klein as well, like, a lot of people don't give a single shred of a shit about real issues and trying to make an impact and go out and protest and go out and apply pressure to their governments. A lot of people don't give a shit about organizing. A lot of people don't even care about learning about the historical relevance of certain militant movements, or understanding like resistance against settler colonial enterprise. And why it's a necessity in an academic context. And even when you try to talk about the nuances of these sorts of things, especially within an 8-hour live stream broadcast, especially when you do also crack jokes along the side, people will just like clip you and to be like there was one thing I saw like from the context where he was like, he said, I had like an 8-hour conversation with Nick Pollum. He doesn't know anything. It was very instructive about like a refresher of like all the things that have happened since October 7. He took a clip of that where I said like, I don't have a problem with Hezbollah. And that conversation was specifically about like with relation to the resistance that Hezbollah is engaged in against Israel. And you can see it in the clip. But he fucking clipped it to be like Hassan Nasrallah and I don't have a problem with Hezbollah. Like this is really fucked up that he's saying that without even ever providing an argument as to why that's fucked up that I'm saying that. So it's both disingenuous in its framing, and it's also
That's the thing.
There's no
When you come
counter.
from, like,
There's no counter to it.
Yeah, I mean, when you come from like the default status quo position of these guys are terrorists, you have the benefit of not having to actually argue for what that is.
Yeah.
Because they just are. That's the way these people operate. And like, I'd love to fucking debate any of these slup-tubers, but they don't want to.
Yeah.
I'd relish in that. I've challenged all of them. They're all afraid. They're all scared.
Talk to me now.
They're not
He
scared,
won't. He just like he uses me
You're
as like
just
the public enemy
unhinged, and nobody
on
wants
his
to deal with
as
the
like the
aftermath
leftist soy
of debating
woke
a
guy.
freak
I don't even
like
understand how that fucking
you.
happened. This is a guy who was like a shit World of Warcraft player, and now he's talking about like deporting people and how great it is that they get deported. Where did that happen? He lives in like the fucking woods. What does he care? What the fuck is happening?
Because he has 50,000 people watching him every day, and all he has to do is click play and go, yeah, based, and that's it.
Do you know about like his history? Like, has he gained viewers from doing this shit? I assume he has.
Yeah.
Because he used to be like a video game. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, I think like there's ups and downs in the streaming space, but I think like he saw that he was getting a lot more prominence doing this, like a lot more relevance doing this, because he doesn't give a fuck about money. He lives in shit. Like he lives in filth. He lives in his own fucking rock.
ceiling
Like that's
just
not even.
fell down
I'm
from
not even
Max.
exaggerating when I say this. It's like a fucking
Yeah, I mean,
insane thing.
it's actually weird to have that much money and then not do anything with it.
Yeah, no, it's like way weirder than
Because
fucking.
he is.
I always used to get mad at Berkshire Hathaway, the guy that owns
It's
Berkshire
weirder
Hathaway.
than Ethan Klein suing
He's a
everyone.
fucking coward.
It's what?
He's
It's
a
weirder than what?
measly
weirder than Ethan
little
Klein using his money to sue
liar,
everyone.
dude.
Oh, sue.
Yeah, I mean that's also gross in a different way, but
His
I
house is
think
kinda
Asmund
dirty
wanted
too,
to, he wanted to sue me as well. I think Asmund did or something. I heard these guys love. They're such Amerifats. They love immediately hitting the fucking litigation button.
It wouldn't even hurt you. Like, you would just pay someone to do all the work for you, and ultimately, like, both sides, like, you know, everyone involved is rich, so it's like, it wouldn't do anything to either of you. What's the fucking point?
Yeah, I think I have become, unfortunately, like a beacon of what it is to be left online, all the way from like being pro-democratic party, all the way to like Gary radical, revolutionary
there's
socialist
people
policies.
who, like, have learned that making videos about you gets them more views than normal, and there
Yeah.
are so fucking many of them.
Yeah,
Like, I
and
get
it's a
recommended
never-ending
so many
cycle
of them
because
for
like
those types of videos.
yeah, and that's literally what it is. And unfortunately, because the average person's interest in
calling
political
Hassan
affairs
a cuck?
is resembling someone with a brain of a walnut, they eat that shit. They eat that.
All right, I'm done with this for now. Let's see, how far in are we? 144. All right, let's see. What else do we want to watch? What else we got? Really enjoying that one, I see. You know what? This is a good time for dailies. Let's fucking go. Okay. Let's go. Is it melon? Isn't that part of a fucking dolphin or something? Oh. This is Monopoly, right? Yeah. Alright. Yes. Easy one today. Fuck off. So rude. So rude. So rude. Unbelievable. All right, here we go. Here we go. I don't care. Oh. Which one? Which one is it? Which one, though? Do these people... Oh, no. God damn it. We'll say 90. Nah. We'll say 2002. I think it's Wimbledon. When I was living in Moscow, I actually got to see them play each other once. It was fucking awesome. I don't know where Wimbledon is. I'm guessing fucking London, because that's what we do. I don't fucking know. 2008. Okay. I wasn't that far. Alright, we'll take those. We take those. We take those. Alright. Okay. Ooh. Wagga? Wagga Wagga? Sound like it's gotta be like New fucking Zealand, right? Wagga Wagga? Or like Australia or something. Fuck. This looks like the 50s. Good one, Nate Rooney. I mean, it could be Australia too, right? They have funny fucking names. I don't know. I don't know, man. Oh, it's right there! Fuck yeah. Is there like a main street? Oh, the post office? That was lucky, bro. It was like right there. That was lucky. The post office? Where is it? Where is it? Where is the post office? Where is it? Edward Street. Wait. Did it say what street was here? No. Okay. Edward Street. Ooh, this looks like a central place. Oh, I don't know. Somewhere around here. I reckon. Oh, it's got to be like around here. Somewhere around here, mate. Where is the fucking post office? Maybe around here? Fucking hell, man. It's a small place. Should be able to find it rather easily. This looks like a downtown, right? Maybe it's like over here. Australia Post. It's gotta be right. The bookshop. It's gotta be right here. It's gotta be like right here. And then we're gonna say, I mean, these looks like the 50s or 60s. Let's say 60. Feel like I'm gonna be off on the year. 70. Not bad though. We'll take it. Oh, come on, bro. What do I do with this? Estonia. Okay. So Tallinn, probably? Oh, there's the Estonian flag. Okay, we're in Estonia. Okay. We're gonna go with Tallinn because where the fuck else are we gonna go with? Well, I didn't know that, neighbor Rooney. There's a market here. So we'll just say here. And what are we looking like? What's the year looking like here? I don't see any smartphones, but who knows? I might just not be able to see one. It's looking like the 2000s. Can't even see any like watches or anything. They're taking away all my hints. Shit. Fuck it. No! Lack of smartphones! Lack of smartphones! What do you need 2019? Nobody has a smartphone out! Who are these people? Who? God damn it. Addis Ababa. No, Antananarivo's, come on, I know it's one of these ones. It's the capital for sure, one of these countries, I just can't remember. I'll find it. There it is. Ethiopia. Well, duh, that's Ethiopian right there. Will we find a train station? We find the train station. TwitchCon 2024? Damn, you're right. I should have known. We must find the train station. Where is it? Where is it? It is somewhere here. I don't know. I don't know the different accents between Nigerians and Ethiopians. What do you want from me? Gotta be somewhere around here, right? This is looking old. But like how old, right? Yo. Where is this train station? Where is it? Huh? I cannot find it. Oh! Is this a train station or a metro? I do not know. There has got to be a big station somewhere downtown. I do not know. My bad. I'm Herrick. That's right. I didn't know that. I didn't know that! I mean, I knew that somewhere in my mind, but it wasn't available information. In the moment. Philistine. Avocado. That's perfect. The avocado. Alright. I'm going to pick a random place. Because I do not know. Somewhere downtown. Like this. We make a guess. 16 years. Oh, whoa! How lucky is that? No, we're cooked. We're cooked, boys. Alright, Washington Monument. Okay. Okay. Washington. In the front of the Washington Monument. I do not know which side. Which side is the entrance? I cannot tell. We say here. We're gonna bring this way back. What do these guys look like? Like 20s, 30s? These hats, these bowler hats. We say 27. Make a guess. Nah, 21. 8.1 meters away. Not good. Not great. Not our best night. The funny thing is, like, we got all the locations right, but the years fucked us. The years fucked us on this one. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough, boys. That's tough. What are you gonna do? Right? What are you gonna do? Let's see. Yep, it's true. She was not here. Wait, are you double dipping? Which one do you want me to do? Which one, how, or how? How do we do this? How we doing this, bub? It's true, she's my good luck charm. Mika! You've been summoned. Come here. Come here, babes. Come here. Come here. Hi. Hello. Say hi to all the peoples. Say hi to all the peoples. Oh, look at this. Oh, you got stinky breath. You got stinky breath. What you doing? Mwah. What are you doing? Come here. Ow. Hi. I love you. I love you. Ow. Can I get a hello? Can you say hi? Hey, hey. Ready? Say hi. Oh, nope. Stretch it out. Okay. Ready? Mika, look at me. Ready? Say hi. Ready? Say hi. Say hi. You're so goofy. You're such a goof. You know that? You're a goofball. Ready? Say hi. Nope, you're not gonna do it? Not tonight? No show? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, go ahead. Good girl. Go ahead. She's very happy. Very happy girl. All right, what are we closing out? What are we closing out with? Let me find something good. Any suggestions of some quick slop to go through? Huh? Three hours of slop. I know, but like non-political slop. If you have any. Wait, when was that? Was that the one from like a week or so or two ago? Because I already saw that one. I was there for that. Earlier today? Oh, God. Let me guess. They were mad at each other and they yelled at each other and they were sleeping around and shit like that. Ooh. You want an essay on why Zack Snyder sucks ass? No, not really. I already agree with that for the most part. Filters today. They already have hate smashed each other like a bunch of times. Oh, yeah, these guys. I will play that once I end my YouTube stream. Okay, YouTube people. Thanks so much for joining. We're going to be continuing on Le Kick. Every YouTube person, you have a good night. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.